we break down the Padres weekend.
That's the problem with the Padres right now. You can't expect to stumble into rallies when you're top heavy.
We've talked about what they need at the deadline. I don't think there's any big bat out there that they can go get that's going to magically change anything.
And a preview of today's matchup with the Phillies. And SDFC continues to roll.
Goes into the 18 for Anders to Tommy Uncle.
3-2 San Diego FC.
We'll react to the big win down in Dallas. Let's get going with John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour one, John and Jim, a ton to react to, and we will, as Kevin Acee will join us from a rainy Philadelphia coming up at 2:30. We'll see if the Padres and Phillies get underway on time today. The tarp is on the field. Rain is falling in Philadelphia on this final day of June, which means if it doesn't start on time, stay with us. We'll react to this past weekend in Cincinnati. We're getting you ready for Matt Waldron's 2025 Padres debut opposite Zach Wheeler, as Bryce Harper, as Jim just said, does return for the Phillies. Now, this on the heels of what was a no good, very bad start to the road trip, I would say. The way Friday played out, we talked about it a little bit. Padres easily could have been no hit. Their only hit coming in the ninth inning from Elias Diaz.
Yeah.
Now, they scratched across a run with Schulte liked.
Oh, man.
Friday,
they fought and they battled that ninth inning.
They did, but they lost 8-1, so that wasn't good enough.
No, it wasn't
Now,
even close.
Saturday, they did actually
Very good
respond
game.
because they trailed 3-0. They hit 3 home runs in one, and then they were positioned to win yesterday. They led 1-0. They led 2-1 in the ninth inning, and then the Reds walked off against the Padres, against Robert Suarez. There was an error in the inning, and the Padres lose the game. They lose the series. So not a perfect start, obviously, to the trip, and it gets harder now. Going to Philadelphia, had a chance to win the series. We always say everything hinges on one game. I think I'd be saying something completely different if they won yesterday. You'd feel good about their start to the road trip, 2-1, but they lost yesterday, and now they're trying to avoid another series loss against a good Phillies team at home.
Am I going to overreact to Padres losing 2 or 3 on the road
Absolutely.
in Cincinnati? Actually, no, I'm not.
I'm kidding.
I really am. I'm really not going to. Because I think the Reds are playing good baseball right now, and as of this very moment, they're a good team. But what I will react to is this offense. I feel like the conversation with this team right now starts, and it has to start with this Padres offense. You can talk about the injuries to their pitching staff with Darvish and him throwing a million sim games, and Michael King and him sleeping wrong. And you could talk about, the fact that, they need a left fielder or a right-handed bat or a new catcher. Like, all of those things are true.
Mm-hmm.
But the conversation right now starts with the current state of the Padres offense. And that has been the biggest reason why this team has not played good baseball for the last, essentially 2 months.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, the numbers, we have them from Kyle Glazer, and we can share them with you. There's other numbers from Kevin Acee. There's the Fernando Tatis Jr. conversation. There's Manny Machado's recent struggles. I mean, go anywhere with it. Here's what I know. The offense looks nothing like 2024. And we've said this before, and you can get into the numbers, but like, you sit on 2-1 leads all season and you're asking for trouble. They've been good in close, low-scoring games. But when Kevin joined us Friday, and he'll join us coming up in 30 minutes, he said they've got the best winning percentage in baseball, scoring 3 runs or less, and they're not good.
Right.
Because you can't score 3 runs or less and have a good winning percentage. There's something like 10 or 11 games under 500, maybe 12 now, when scoring 3 runs or less. So feel free to get into the numbers, but we have eyes. We know they're not good. This doesn't look like 2024. And then you see the final score. They're scoring 1 run Friday. They're scoring 2 runs Sunday. That's not a recipe to win.
So thanks to our buddy Kyle Glazer for doing the work for us.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, everything went downhill starting on May 15th. That's the date it looks like we can point to as the date where this Padres offense just took a nosedive. And since May 15th, their record's 18-23.
Okay.
It's not the end of the world. In the middle of a season in 162 games, you're going to have a stretch where you probably go 18-23. It's, it's not the end of the world.
Sure.
But their offense has been bottom of the league as far as almost all statistical categories go. Runs per game, average, OPS, home runs. It's a bottom of the league offense. The way they've performed for the better part of almost 2 months, it's not good enough.
That's 6 weeks.
And it goes back even further with certain guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., who since May 1st has a 660 OPS.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 2 months of your season where Fernando Tatis Jr. has been really bad for you. And I like really bad for you. And he's sitting in the middle of your lineup. And before that, for the last, 2 weeks, he was hitting in your leadoff spot. And he's expected to be like a 850 to 900 OPS guy, all-star player. I mean, shoot, we were talking about this guy potentially being in the MVP conversation to start the year. And now he's nowhere even close to that because of his play the last 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, spot on. You said it well. And it honestly feels like it's been since before May 15th, even though it breaks down pretty well that they were a much better offense until May 15th. But even if you said from May 15th on, that's way too long. If you say from May 1st on for Fernando Tatis Jr., that's way too long. And here's the issue, that when you have a whole team scuffling, you're not getting bailed out by any one player's good play. It's too hard to ask any one player to lift a team. And I thought Manny played really well for the better part of the first 3 months of the season, and even he has cooled off. There's an inevitability in there. Manny wasn't going to hit 320 all year. He wasn't going to hit 9 home runs over every 25 games, something like he had done earlier this year. And when Manny's not going well and Toddy's playing like this, where are we even turning? Xander Bogaerts?
No.
Okay, he's had a nice week. Gavin Sheets? I mean, he wasn't even here a year ago. He's had a great first half, but it's like there's no path here. Like with Tatis playing like this, if Manny ever cools off, which he has the last couple of weeks, like how do you score 4 or 5 runs when that's happening? And they're just not scoring 4 or 5 runs, as the numbers would tell you.
The biggest misconception right now is that there's this quick fix out there. Just go make a trade. Everything will be better.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. You know, you can go out and make a trade for a right-handed bat unless you're going out and getting like, I don't know. I don't even know. This would never happen, but like a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Like,
yeah.
Unless you're going out getting that bat, even then, you still need other players to perform. My point is, if you go out and you go get what you need as far as a right-handed bat, maybe a bench piece, you're not getting top-notch, like a top-notch player out there. You're not going out and trading for an all-star. You're trading for a middle of the pack, maybe average to slightly above average right-handed bat, maybe average to slightly, below average a bat for your bench that's better than everything else that you have currently. Mm-hmm. You guys really think that those moves would make this team that much better? You know what makes this team that much better? Along with those moves, I'm not saying they don't need that. They absolutely do.
These guys hitting?
100%. You cannot expect this team to perform if the top guys aren't going to produce. And going out and getting an average to a slightly above average right-handed bat to fill your right-handed bat need in your lineup, going out and getting maybe a upgrade at catcher, but not like, crazy upgrade. You're not going out and getting Cal Raleigh. You're going out and getting just kind of like a Joey Bart, maybe. Okay, that's great. It's needed. But even you put Joey Bart in the lineup, if everybody's still doing the same, Joey Bart's not going to fix everything. He's not. He's going to help with your catching position. But if Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jackson Merrill and Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and Luis Arraez and Jake Cronenworth, if those guys aren't producing, it doesn't matter what move you go out and make.
And they added Juan Soto in 2022, who will hear his name on the day that he's eligible to enter the Hall of Fame. He had 236. So if Juan Soto went out and hit 236, and Adam Frazier actually was an all-star, for example, a few years ago, he did absolutely nothing. Right. Then why would you expect, if they don't acquire that caliber of player, any type of performance? Darnay had it a couple of weeks ago from NBC7 when he detailed the last handful of trade deadline acquisitions of position players. None of them had truly panned out. I mean, literally none of them had truly panned out to make that extreme difference for this team. So it's the burn the ships line. It starts in that clubhouse in terms of fixing this. Here's the danger. Forget about what the fans think. And I don't even think there's this overwhelming belief from the fan base that, man, they're going to add this player and everything's going to be right. All right.
I think there's a little bit of it.
Maybe a little, but I don't think it's overwhelming.
Like, they just need a marginal player and they'll be fine.
Maybe. I don't necessarily sense that right now, but here would be more concerning is if the clubhouse thinks they're going to get bailed out at the trade deadline. Like they're waiting for AJ Preller to help them along the way. Preller's not going to do that. If this team comes back to 500, there's no reason for AJ Preller to go fully all in for what? Maybe a chance of making the postseason or maybe being in a wild card series that's best of 3. So like you got to play well from now until July 30th for your GM to potentially bail you out, and everything we've been saying is true. I don't even know if there is a bailout, even if this team plays really well in terms of what he can do at the deadline.
This quote really sticks out to me, and it brings me back to 2021 and even 2023. And this was AJ Preller just last week to Dennis Lynn. Revisiting the James Wood trade, but then it turned into his thoughts about this year's team.
Yeah,
this quote just sticks out. Quote, we've had years where we've been aggressive. We've had years where we stood pat. We've had years where we've pivoted and dealt for prospects and minor league players. This is the quote. I think your team tells you where you're at. I think we're always open-minded. And I think for right now, it's looking like we're hoping to add to the club we have, but we're always going to be open to what direction we need to go. And that makes the most sense for the team for now and the future. Where he says, your team tells you where you're at. That's exactly, the thing that we're talking about here is the team is going to tell you, like, if they're good or not, and what kind of direction that you should go at the trade deadline. 2023, we were having the same conversations about the offense in 2023. They couldn't hit with runners in scoring position. Their star players were not producing. And everyone's like, go out and make a trade for a bat. Go out and make a trade for a bat. And you know what AJ Preller did? It was like a fake deadline. He went out and added some marginal pieces. Garrett Cooper, G-Man Choi. I think that's who it was. Rich Hill, right? Those are all marginal, like around the edge players. Did that help? No. You want to know why it didn't help? Because the star players still didn't produce. And if the star players don't produce, any marginal moves you make isn't going to help the overall, grand scheme of things.
The only difference being, and I agree with you, the difference being 2023, the writing was on the wall from day one. The writing here isn't fully on the wall.
No.
It can go one of two ways.
Yeah.
They still can be the team that's 10 over 500 at the All-Star break. It's not that far off.
Mm-hmm.
They could go 6-4 during their upcoming homestand and 2-1 in Philadelphia. They're 10 games over 500, or 1-2 in Philadelphia and 7-3 in the homestand. They're 10 games over 500. That 2023 team was on the outside looking in. This team is right where they need to be. But again, the trend lines, that's the discouraging part of it. They were 14-3. And from that moment on, they don't really look like a playoff team, even though the numbers will tell you from a standings perspective, they're very much in the thick of the postseason conversation. So, they need to put themselves in a position where they're better off than 2023 to fully go for it. And to our collective point, that's solely on the Padres this July.
Do you know their record against teams above 500?
You've said within the last week that they were 10 under, and they just went 1-2 against the Reds. I'm trying to think of that. I'd say they're 10-11 under would be my guess.
They're 15-28.
So 13 under.
Those change because certain teams that they play.
Kansas City drops under,
or goes over, right?
Exactly.
But still, 15-28 against teams above 500. If they continue on the trend that they're going at now, since May 15th, which we're almost at basically 2 months of this, and the winning percentage that they've had, they're not going to get to 500 by the break, but close to the trade deadline, they could be very close to a 500 team.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to play well in July. There's no other way to look at it. They have to play well in July, and that starts beginning tomorrow. And it really starts tonight in Philadelphia. Kevin Acee will join us at 2:30. More on the Padres' offensive woes on the other side. You'll hear from Mike Schilt, by the way, coming up later this hour as well. We do have tickets to give away. We'll tell you about in the 4:00 hour. We are here until 6 p.m. We've just gotten started on this Monday. Stay with us, Sean and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, San Diego Sports 760 has 9 chances to win $1,000 every weekday. It's the Bonus Bucks giveaway. Listen for the keyword entered at sportssd.com. Next chance to win $1,000 coming up at 3 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee from a rainy Philadelphia will join us in 10 minutes. The pitching matchup, Zach Wheeler, Matt Waldron. As the Padres, remember, you made a really good point last night. I said it. It was a year ago this month when the Padres were in Philadelphia, really scuffling, actually under 500, trying to avoid an 0-6 road trip. They turned to Matt Waldron opposite Ranger Suarez, who at the time had like a sub-2 ERA. And it was Waldron that beat Suarez, and it kind of turned the tides on the Padres season.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Wheeler's got a 2.45. We haven't seen Waldron in forever, and we'll see if the Padres bats can come to life tonight in Philly.
Looking back on it, that was the turning point of the season last year.
It really was.
But it coincided with Manny Machado saying some, very truthful, words about his play, which was he was awful.
Right.
Up until that point last year, he was awful. Little different tone for Manny this year after, a loss yesterday. Everything's fine. It's okay. We hit the ball hard. It's baseball. And
he did basically say that.
I don't know what else you expect from Manny. Like, that's what you're going to get. You're not going to get some like, hey, we need to play better type of hoorah speech. He's going to be very, it's baseball. It's baseball. What do you expect? It's baseball type of mentality.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's been, that's what he always says. So
listen, I don't need anything. Manny Machado's not the rah-rah. He's not that guy. He's going to say everyone's got to do their job. We're all going to pull in the same direction. I'll put up my numbers. And if that's good enough, it's good enough. And that's who Manny Machado is. Now, here's the issue with Machado. And it's not to make this about Manny Machado, but I do think the point is worth stating, which is like the Padres are fully asking Manny Machado to carry this offense, which even of a player of his caliber is not fully fair, because when he slumps, which he is right now, where are you turning? Because no one else is responding. It's not been Tatis. It hasn't been Merrill. Yes, Bogaerts has had a better week or two. Yes, Gavin Sheets has had a very good year, but like Manny Machado's not going to hit 9 home runs every 25 games like he did at one stretch. So when he cools off, it looks even worse. You heard me say it in the open of the show, like they're so top heavy. Mm-hmm. That when the top isn't producing, you have no shot.
Yeah.
And yesterday, it wasn't just the top not producing or the bottom not producing. They're 0 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Kevin had the stat today that they're hitting 200. Essentially, what is it? In their last 45 games, they've hit 202 with runners in scoring position, second worst in the major leagues. They're just not helping themselves.
And it's not all Tyler Wade and Bryce Johnson and Martin Maldonado and Elias Diaz.
Why we talk more Machado and Tatis?
It's funny to me when I see from Padres fans or whoever getting so angry. I get it. They need to be replaced. I get it. Martin Maldonado, Elias Diaz, Tyler Wade, Jose Iglesias, whatever else is on your bench. Like, I get it.
Enough.
Then they're not good enough. We all know that. They need upgrades in those places. But if after they lose games like yesterday, we're going to scream at the top of our lungs about guys like Elias Diaz and Martin Maldonado and Tyler Wade. Like, no, they are complementary pieces that have not carried the weight this year at all.
Like, what were you expecting?
But yeah, exactly. What were you expecting them to do? Be all-stars? What we were expecting is guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Luis Ariz to be all-stars. And they're not. There's one player in there that will be an all-star. And he might not even start because another Dodger's in there and all Dodger fans might vote him as a starter, Max Muncy. But still, the point is your all-star players need to perform like all-star players, and they have plenty on this team. So if the team loses and your first thought is, I need to rage about Martin Maldonado and Tyler Wade, you're missing the point.
Yeah, you're missing the boat completely. And it's time for one of the four you mentioned, the big four, so to speak, and we're not including Xander in there. It's time for one of those guys to have like a 405 month to just hit. It's time
Fernando Tatis Jr.
Just go hit. I mean, just go be what Manny was 30 days ago. Someone else's turn. Take the baton. Run with it. You're being paid to be that player, and you're being paid to be that player right now, especially with this team scuffling. All right, Kevin Acee will join us on the other side. The latest from Philadelphia. Matt Waldron makes the start opposite Zach Wheeler, plus updates on Yu Darvish and Michael King with Kevin Acee from Philadelphia as the Padres get ready for the Phillies game, one of a 3-game set. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update's brought to you by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Padres start a 3-game series in Philadelphia tonight. 3:40 first pitch. Matt Waldron making his season debut against Zach Wheeler. Bryce Harper is returning tonight for the Phillies. He's been on the IL since June 5th. And NBA news over the weekend, LeBron James picked up his $53 million option with the Lakers for the upcoming NBA season. Anderson's drain stoppage guarantee solve issues for $63, or it's on the house. Nobody wows clients like they do. Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air has been privileged to serve over 500,000 residential clients for more than 45 years. Visit AndersonPHA.com today.
All right, let's head out to Philadelphia, where Kevin Acee is standing by. Phillies, Padres, game one of a 3-game series and a tough matchup. Zach Wheeler on the mound for Philadelphia, 7-3 this year, a sub 2.5 ERA. Matt Waldron back on the mound for the Padres here in 2025. So we'll get into that, Kevin, coming up. We always appreciate you taking time for us. I guess I'll actually start with the weather, because we saw on MLB Network that the tarp was on the field. Is the tarp still on the field, and is it still raining in Philadelphia? And thanks for hopping on.
It is both tarp and rainy, but expected to clear or at least be able to play. Don't know if there might be a little bit of a delay since, we're an hour away from scheduled time. The day I'm worried about is tomorrow. If you check the forecast, doesn't look like a good night.
All right, so more rain coming to the Northeast. So let's just start here, because coming off the series loss in Cincinnati, where I think the takeaway is not necessarily them blowing the lead in the 9th inning, although that's a part of the story, but 1 run Friday, just 1 hit, and then 2 runs yesterday. And we knew in Cincinnati, you're going to need to score some runs in that ballpark. I guess just a general question, Kevin, because we talk to you about this so often, just in general, what has happened to this offense? You watch it each and every day. It didn't start like this in April. What has happened to this offense in your estimation over the last, let's say, 6-8 weeks, I guess?
I'm in the process of trying to figure it out. I give you the players an answer to a certain extent. Is if I had an answer, I'd fix it. But there's some merit in that. And then that's also like, no, we got to fix this here. So I think that we've reached the point now. How did it get there? That's a different conversation, but we've reached the point where guys are pressing. There's just first off, people are telling me that, not players, certainly, not in those so many words, but, and then it's kind of obvious. Now that doesn't mean every at bat, but that could mean a crucial at bat. That could mean that it just throws them off enough that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, be it try to get a productive out, or drive the ball, or, look for a certain pitch, and then when you're playing these thin margin games, that'll kill you. So, and it's just sort of built on itself. I will also say that I went into the research that I spent a lot of time on today, thinking I was going to prove the Padres wrong and be able to say to the players, come on, stop talking about these hard hits right at guys. Padres have the second lowest batting average on hard hit balls in the majors. And so then you go, oh, okay, what is that? A lot of ground balls? Nope. Oh, they're not hitting line drives? Nope. They're hitting more line drives than they were last year with hard hit line drives. So there's a little bit of bad luck. I don't want to discount either. And I'm not giving them as an excuse. I'm saying this actually as a, something to watch. They've faced good pitchers and they've faced good teams. They were killing and still are, for the most part, bad teams, and they're not doing so great against good teams. So want to give them some credit what they did to Andrew Abbott on Saturday. But I think all these things, I don't know if that answers your question, but I think that it's definitely what I'm most concentrating on, because I agree with you that was the story from yesterday and really the series.
And I think we can all agree they need another right-handed bat. They need an upgrade at catcher. They need an upgrade on their bench. But I think we can also agree that even if they got those upgrades, they're not going to really mean much if your star players still aren't producing, right?
I think that you are speaking my language. So, I don't know if I'm the choir or you're the choir, but we're preaching the same message. Yes. It's crazy. Fernando Tatis Jr. can't be this bad. He just can't. I think the debate that we were having, or the discussion we were having a couple of weeks ago was, oh man, if he's an 820 OPS guy, is that okay? Well, you would die for that right now.
Yeah.
And we're talking about since the start of May, and this is the last day of June. So we're not talking about like a little time here. I do want to say that he has had stretches with fewer homers. He has had stretches where the batting average is almost this low, but they were all in 2023, the year he was coming back from the alleged PED and the 2 injuries. So, I've always discounted that season. If I was going to discount that and give him a break in 2023, I need to talk about it as an asterisk now and say, look, maybe there was a reason, it seems like, for that. What's going on now? No idea.
Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. It's interesting because Mike Schilt, as you know, has changed his lineup a couple of times, but it goes back to the point that I think a lot of people made initially, which is you can change the lineup, but that doesn't change Fernando Tatis Jr. or whomever else is in the lineup. Would you? What else can they do? I guess. What do you do to kickstart it if you're Mike Schilt? Are you sensing any level of frustration? I heard him post game. He mentioned the 0 for 13 RISP, where the Reds are 4 for 8. What is his level of frustration with the way that they're changing this thing up and it's not turning over, so to speak?
I think that you were made a good point there. Sometimes it can be dangerous just to read into one statement, but I certainly perked up at that because Mike doesn't say much, right? We all agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that he said that and there's a couple other things that he's been saying that make you go, okay. I already knew this, but sometimes you're like, come on, Mike, just give me some hint that you're in reality. I already knew he was. I stick up for him all the time. What he says publicly is different than the message he gives inside the clubhouse. But he clearly, if it's to the point where now he's sharing publicly that, hey, I'm noticing these things and they got to be better, then, there's a little bit of frustration. That said, what's he supposed to do now, right? What is he supposed to do now? I think they're working on continually. Look, you're Fernando Tatis Jr., 0 for 24 or whatever, 2 for 24 doesn't matter because 25 could be a 3-run bomb. You can, trying to keep him, you can just see it. You can see it when he gets a single, right? Wasn't a great single yesterday. Fought off, I think, it's a pretty good pitch and, just kind of lofted one out there to center. And it was like a weight lifted. And you've seen that 3-4 times here in the last 2 weeks where when, he finally gets a hit to stop like a skid, it's like he's a different guy. And so it's like, hey, you're really important to this team because I guess the point I'm getting at is I do think there's a certain amount of mental to it at this point.
Kevin, what's the identity of this team in your opinion?
Jim. It is. What's the identity? I don't know where you're going because there's a lot of answers to that. Is the answer you're looking for kind of I don't know?
Kind of, yeah. Because I feel like I feel like if you ask anybody that question, the answer probably will be I don't know.
Yeah. Do you mean okay? So here's the deal. The Dodgers, it's the fact that they might have more all-star starters than any team in history, and it might actually be justified. They are just a good team, and they are star-studded. And then I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what their identity is. They might be searching for it. It might be a really good question because they were certain they knew it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The things they learned last year and took through the second half and then started out this season doing the same thing. They absolutely were convinced that they knew their identity. I think they would still try to tell you that that's who they are and that they're just going through a rough stretch. But I will virtually guarantee you, I'm not in other people's brains, but I talk to a lot of people. I will virtually guarantee you that the doubt has started to creep in. They need to pull out of it pretty soon.
Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. We can get to the daily Michael King, you Darvish if you want, but I wanted to ask about Robert Suarez. Any concern? I'd have to look at the game log. I know it hasn't been near as good recently as it was earlier. And I saw the way it played out yesterday, watching it, with the play that Tyler Wade didn't make. I know it was eventually ruled a single, but what do you make of Robert Suarez, who not only has come back to earth, but he just hasn't really been as effective here over the last, I don't even know how many outings, but the last handful plus of outings?
So the number one thing that I noticed, and I haven't had a chance to really get, because he gets out of it and then he gets back in it, and he's been so good this year. I haven't had a chance to really pick people's brains and all that. But the number one thing that I've noticed, and I wrote about a little bit today, is, he's throwing the changeup an awful lot, and it's getting crushed. He's leaving it up. He's leaving it in the middle of the plate, and it's getting crushed. Now, hand in hand with that, he's not putting people away with his fastball, and he's not getting it by people. I mean, it was great at bat. Should have ended in and out, but really nice at bat by Ellie De La Cruz. And there have been a lot of those, though. Maybe not 10 pitches, but 6 pitches, and then another 7 pitch after that by someone because they fouled off a couple of those fastballs. So it's like then he has to get it over the plate, and then boom, 2-strike hit, and it's just like time after time after time. So there's that. The other thing is, and I haven't this year done it, right? Because at one point it was 20 of 21 in saves or whatever, and I just hadn't had an opportunity, but I probably should now. Like him, like everyone else, and yes, in his job description is to pitch in close games, all right? But sometimes a 3-run save might be nice, where you get a runner on and it's not all of a sudden bite your nails time. I'm not trying to make an excuse for him. I'm just saying, the guy yesterday could have had 2 outs. Boom. I don't know what happens after that if Tyler Wade catches that and he actually then gets the pop up from, I forget, Hayes, I think it was, and he's got 2 outs. You can't assume that because one thing happened, another would. But just saying, my point of those 2 points is closers live on the edge, man. And sometimes it's just we might all think it was great. In fact is, he didn't get single swing and miss. Guys hit the ball hard, but he had a 1-2-3 inning. And the difference is third baseman who is in there because, of what happened yesterday with Xander, and then the ball goes off his glove, and then, there's a kind of a flare hit. And, that's the difference. So I do want to make a little bit of an excuse for him, but I do think there are some troubling signs here.
For sure. I think we all see it. And as you point out there, there are things that to watch with Robert Suarez that you're like, we should keep an eye on that. Finally, Kevin, does Yu Darvish make more sim game starts this year or starts in the big leagues?
Yes. He is going to do another sim game. Here's the thing. I think that it started to rain. Rain, not like San Diego rain, but like real rain.
Oh boy.
And I didn't think it was worth it to stay out there. No, not now. When I was talking about, I was going to talk to someone about what their philosophy on this was. Here's what I think it is. This guy has pitched, 400 games, 500 games? I don't know, 400 games between Japan and the United States. He might not need a rehab start. This is a controlled environment, makes Yu Darvish feel good, assures he's going to get his 60 pitches and continue on his progression. And so, he might make this sim game start and come back, or one more sim game start and come back. He might not have a rehab. So it's they want to get him up and built up. And here's what you need to remember. They got to get him built up because they can't afford to have him come back and give them 3 innings. They got enough starters to do that.
Right.
They need Yu Darvish to come back and be able to go 70 pitches and hope that that's good for 5 innings, 6 innings.
And then, Kevin, in 60 seconds, I know you wrote about Michael King. I mean, there's some optimism there heading into July.
Sure. And that's about enough time for it because we shouldn't spend any more time on a guy who has played catch twice and sort of starting up a pitching a progression. What I really like and what I think is super, super positive, besides the fact that, it's a positive that he's actually throwing, is he seems happier. And the reason that's important is because, he was down, man. You could tell, this was, he didn't know what was happening, and that was really eating at him, as you would expect. And now he is believing in the progress. And I think that's a really good sign.
Kevin, go get an umbrella and we will catch up with you at some point on Wednesday. All right.
Right on, guys. Stay here.
All right. We appreciate it. Kevin AC, our Padres insider, of course, brought to you by the all new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. We react. We'll hear from Mike Schilt in Philadelphia, also on MLB Network on Yu Darvish coming up. Plenty to react to. It's John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, make sure to download the all-new iHeartRadio app, and when you do that, put San Diego Sports 760 in your presets, put John and Jim in your presets as well. Listen back to the show, any hour or interview, listen live to the show on the iHeartRadio app. If you missed David J. from Mad Friars, he was with us Friday, but during the Padres-Reds game, you'll hear that coming up, that conversation on the system, the upcoming trade deadline. You'll hear that at 3 p.m. We'll also hear from Mike Schild, his pregame commentary to the media. You'll hear that coming up around 3:15. It does not appear as if Padres Phillies will start on time, as Kevin just joined us and told us it was a heavy rain in South Philadelphia tonight.
And then tomorrow, watch out for tomorrow.
Heavier rain.
Philadelphia right now. It's raining, John.
Yeah,
it's raining
right.
in Philadelphia. Tomorrow, there's an 80% chance of rain and thunderstorms. And then Wednesday, 85% chance of rain.
No games ever again.
But that's in the morning. Afternoon should be fine.
So I'm a radar guy. I've got the radar pulled up.
Ooh, that's nice.
And
what do you got?
there's a window.
Ooh,
there's
window.
a window to play tonight. There's definitely a window.
I love me a window.
It looks like the tarp's going to be coming off the field pretty soon. So there's a window to play. So hopefully they can get this game in here tonight, game one of a 3-game
Just start
series.
at like 5:45.
Yeah, start later. Start after John and Jim. Start at like 9 Eastern.
Yeah, it's fine.
You don't need to. Why are they playing at 6:35 Eastern? Like, come on, man.
Play
Although
it.
the Padres play at 6:40 Pacific, but
True.
you get the point.
Yes.
This actually might start on time. We'll see. Anyway, Mike Schilt earlier today at MLB Network Radio had an update on Yu Darvish.
Getting back to a point where he's not only throwing but recovering and being able to take the next steps. Those hurdles hadn't been able to be jumped over till recently, and so he had a 51 pitch, 3-inning simulated game a little over right at a week ago. Threw an aggressive side a couple of days ago, 31 pitches. Came out of it feeling good, strong. Next day felt good and strong, and now he's looking to throw a simulated game tomorrow at one of our affiliates, and comes out of that good, then he's definitely getting closer to joining us.
Over under 2.5 more sim games thrown before he makes his return to the Padres.
The way he said it right there, Jim, and then based on what Kevin said, which is he doesn't necessarily need a rehab, and that's what I'm sensing with all these sim appearances.
Right.
I think that Yu Darvish will appear on the homestand before the All-Star break next week.
Sounds
That's my
about right.
belief. Because he'll probably throw 60 pitches
Mhm.
tomorrow. He threw 51 last time out. So let's say he throws 60, puts him in a position to throw 60 or 70 in his first outing.
Mhm.
So that would be a Wednesday. No, tomorrow's Tuesday. So let's say a week later, maybe July 7th, July 8th, I could see him appearing in the major leagues. Everything goes well in that sim game.
Okay.
What do you-
I
what do you
like
think?
it.
I mean, it just seems like that's where they're trending based on what Schilt just said there.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would say if everything goes right, then seeing him back on the homestand. But as Kevin said, like you need to build him up to pitch at minimum 5 innings because they have a bunch of dudes on this team that can already give you 3.
Right. And you wouldn't want to, you're right. I mean, if he goes out there and throws 3 innings, what are you asking your bullpen to do?
Yeah,
We'll
what's the
cover
point?
those innings.
The point to bring Yu Darvish back is to obviously get a better pitcher in this rotation, but to give you some length. Can you go 5 and 6 consistently?
It's a fine line. I mean, his first time out, they're going to be cautious.
Yeah, I know.
obviously,
I know.
and maybe a second time out too. But you're right. I mean, he's got to be in there hitting the ground running. Why? Because we're in the second half of the year by schedule. I mean, there's 70 something games left in their year. I mean, you made an interesting point. It's true. Like, is he going to throw more sim games or games? And we're getting to the point in the calendar where it's like you can ask that question.
How many sim games has he thrown this year? Like at least 4?
Yeah, and he had that one rehab. I mean, he's made a handful of outings outside of the major leagues during this process.
I'll
So
go
you're
with
right.
I'll go with like 5. 5 total.
That's what he's experienced over the last like month or two.
And then the 6th will come up here this week.
Right. Well, according to Schilt, he'll throw tomorrow. And then does he have another one? Or does he return to the major leagues or does he make a rehab? I'm sensing he's not making a rehab.
So the tricky thing is the All-Star break's coming up.
Yep.
And if he pitches a game on this homestand, it's unlikely he would pitch 2 games on the homestand unless he starts this at the beginning of the homestand. And then you have a long rest there before your next start. I don't know how they're going to play this.
Well, tomorrow is Tuesday, July 1st. So let's say he goes 60 pitches.
Mhm.
Then let's say 6 days later, he pitches July 7th. That's a Monday
Mhm.
in the major leagues.
He would pitch that weekend.
Then he would pitch that weekend. 5 or 6 days later, he'd make 2 appearances before the All-Star break.
2 appearances.
It's actually more than I would have expected.
Yeah, if you ask me over under 1.5 starts for Darvish in the first half, if I would have taken the under,
I'll
maybe.
still probably take the under.
Yeah, probably
until we find out more.
I just don't think that they're going to put him on like a regular schedule right away. I think they're going to try to manipulate it a little bit. Could be wrong, but I think that that's what they're going to do, because why push him out of the gate? Make sure that he's healthy. Make sure he's rested, because if this team is good, they're going to need him down the stretch going into a hopeful postseason run.
Yeah, I mean, let's say he returns, like we said, next week. I mean, you're talking about 70 games roughly remaining in your season.
Mm-hmm.
For him to pitch every fifth game, best case scenario, he's making 13, 14 starts for you in the second half, which would be incredible at this point. But it's a bigger number, and I don't know how optimistic I am on him reaching that number or not.
I'm just, after every start, we'll be holding my breath. And I think everybody will be holding their breath, because any moment he could be like, yeah, I don't feel good anymore. And then he's shut down again. And if he gets shut down again, John, I'm confident in saying it's over.
Dude, they've gotten 10 combined starts out of Michael King and Yu Darvish this year.
I know. And they're all coming from
Michael King. But even King only making 10 starts, and now it's going to be after the All-Star break. I mean, what's the combined starts you're getting out of those two players? 30? This year, it's such a low total.
But the pitching is not the main problem.
No, it's not, but we'll see tonight. Like, now it's Matt Waldron. Before it was, hey, can Kolek pick up the slack? Yes. Can Berger pick up the slack? Yes. Can Waldron pick up the slack?
They have.
Is everyone? I know, but is it going to continue?
I get that.
Maybe it will.
But in the time that these players have picked up the slack, the offense has not picked up those pitchers.
I agree completely with that. All right. If you missed David J. from Mad Friars on Friday afternoon, we'll share that conversation with you on the other side. Then we'll hear from Mike Schill pregame in Philadelphia. The latest as the Padres get ready for the Phillies. Matt Waldron, Zach Wheeler coming up tonight. Tarp on the field in Philadelphia. Stay with us, John and Jim. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update is brought to you by the Jim Buttrell Real Estate Team. Padres and Phillies, game one of their 3-game series starts this afternoon. 3:40 first pitch. Matt Waldron, he's making his season debut tonight against Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. Bryce Harper returns to the Phillies lineup after being on the IL since June 5th. In NBA news over the weekend, LeBron James picked up his $53 million mutual option with the Lakers for the upcoming season. Would you like to know what your home would sell for today? Get a simple text message with your home's value by texting your address to 855-600-6000. You'll get no phone call, just a text. Jim Buttrell has the buyer. Simply text your address to 855-600-6000.
The road trip starts a little shaky.
The 2-1 pitch. Benson rips it down the right field line. Fly ball! That's going to do it. And the Reds walk off with a series victory over the Padres.
We break down the Padres weekend.
That's the problem with the Padres right now. You can't expect to stumble into rallies when you're top heavy.
We've talked about what they need at the deadline. I don't think there's any big bat out there that they can go get that's going to magically change anything.
And a preview of today's matchup with the Phillies. And SDFC continues to roll.
Goes into the 18th for Anders. Anders to Tommy Young can go on.
3-2 San Diego FC.
We'll react to the big win down in Dallas. Let's get going with John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of John and Jim. In about 15 minutes, we will hear from Mike Schilt pregame. Getting ready for Padres and Phillies. We'll see if they get underway on time or not. There is rain in southeastern Pennsylvania. But if you missed this on Friday, we caught up with David J. from Mad Friars, who's this amazing resource for Padres fans, the minor leagues, the major leagues. Now, we started the conversation asking about Leo DeVries. This was before he was named to the Futures game. This was before he had a walk-off home run this weekend as well.
Right.
But he still hit, I think, somebody had it on social media.
Was it a
today.
home run or I thought it was off the wall?
Was it off the wall? Okay. Walk-off hit.
Walk-off hit, yeah.
But still, I want to say over his he's hit like 214 over the last couple of months. But we started the conversation asking about the Padres' top prospect, Leo DeVries.
Hey, John, it's good to talk to you guys, and thanks for the chance to hop on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so DeVries really tore it up through April. Was the player of the year in the Midwest, the player of the month in the Midwest League for April. Just out of the gate really fast. He's definitely slowed down since then and struggled through a decent amount of this month, but kind of turned the corner again in the last week. So the production's exactly where you said. He's mid 240s with an average and mid 740s OPS. But even with that, his strikeout rate has been really strong. His walk rate's been really strong. He's 18 years old. He's 3.5, 4 years younger than almost all the pitchers he's facing out there. He's tightened up his defense. He is exactly where you want him to be. I think they're happy with his ability to stay on the field after he had a couple of shoulder injuries last year. And now it's just a matter of really turn it on here in the second half, finish the year strong, and be ready to go out to Double-A next year.
He's definitely not a name that is on the trade block for anybody. I think he's pretty close to untouchable as it gets. But as we get closer to the trade deadline here, David, what are some names that Padres fans should look at and to know before we get to the trade deadline?
Yeah, I do think you're right that both DeVries and Salas, who's still on the shelf out in the desert and not doing baseball activities yet, I think the two of them you can pretty safely put in the untradeable category. When you look at the organization as a whole, there's a ton of premium depth in late inning relief guys. Obviously the guys who are already at the big league level, Bradley Rodriguez, who got a quick cup of coffee, had a little bit of a scare with a upper arm injury, but he got back into action and was right back at 100 miles an hour with just an absolutely ridiculous changeup to go with it. Tyson Neighbors, a guy they drafted last year, who's struck out now between high A and Double-A. He struck out like 44% of the batters he's faced, which is just ridiculous.
Wow.
But they've got a whole fleet of relief arms. a guy, Eduardo Nunez, who they signed as a minor league free agent after he came out of the Cubs system. Second winter in a row that they've gotten a guy with premium stuff who's had trouble with control in the Cubs organization, brought him in and helped him settle down and find the zone a little bit. He's a guy who I think you could see at the big league level freeing up the potential of trading from the position of strength to the big league bullpen. And then, once you start looking at position players, right, you're really looking, I think, at more complementary pieces. You've got some interesting guys at the lower levels. Lamar King Jr. is a catcher who's out at Lake Elsinore this year, who has just been ridiculously hot and not getting a lot of attention in public conversation. But I think largely, there's a perception in a lot of the sort of public spaces, the Padres system is really thin. But there are pitchers at high A and double A at both the starting and relief side, and then a decent number of position guys who've taken steps forward this year and could, I think, really, I know are getting interest from organizations around the game.
Really good insight. David J back with us right now, John and Jim from Mad Friars. What about like a name or two that might be under the radar? Even for those that have followed this a little more closely, are there some intriguing names maybe in the lower levels of the minor leagues or guys that we haven't talked about as much, even in AAA, but just doesn't get the same discussion? Like, are there any under the radar players right now in the organization?
I think the organization as a whole is kind of under the radar right now, right? I think most people, once you get beyond Leo and Ethan, and once you get beyond, the first couple of picks last year with Cash Mayfield and Boston Bateman, who both had solid but not overwhelming starts in Lake Elsinore this year, beyond that, I think most casual observers don't really know any of the names in the system. I think you look at, the fans got a chance during spring training to see the stuff that Braden Nett has. He's had a really impressive year out in San Antonio, and I think a decent number of folks are tracking him. I think Henry Baez, who's actually outperformed him a little bit, is probably a guy that not enough people know. He's a kid who's been in the system since 2019, just turned 22. Has always been a performer for them and has always been young for his age, for the level. He's got a 2.06 ERA out with San Antonio right now, is already on the 40-man roster. And I think, is a guy who pretty much everybody I've talked to around the game sees as a guy who can pitch at the back of a big league rotation. And obviously that's really valuable. And, but he hasn't gotten, I think, the attention that a bunch of similar arms and other organizations have.
How do you view the direction of, where AJ Preller potentially could go here at the deadline? Do you think what he may try to accomplish is obtainable, or what's your just overall view of, the needs for this team and the direction here coming up closer to the deadline?
Well, I think my insights here are going to be really unique and outside the box. I think they need to improve a catcher in left field.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's years of watching the system that helps you really get a grip on things like that.
Right.
Yeah. It depends on what he wants to do, right? Like, if the goal is to be better than they are in left field and catcher right now, that doesn't take a whole lot, right? So if what you want is to reduce the negatives and make it, if you could get to league average production out of those two positions, you'd be in a really good place, right? Mm-hmm. Compared to what they've got now. So if you want to do that, I think they can easily, they definitely have the depth and quality to go out and get guys like that. If I mean, to talk in public spaces about what the return for like Jaron Duran
Right.
should or could be has been absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
It apparently the people who are like, not to name names, but Jim Bowden got dropped on his head at some point, I think, because you look at what he's throwing out there as potential compensation for Jaron Duran, and then you look at what it actually cost to get a guy like Randy Arozarena last year, and the gap is massive. So, how high end do you want to go, and are the prices really trending in that ridiculous direction? If so, then you probably look more middle of the pack. But again, middle of the pack is a massive upgrade from where they are.
So it would be shocking to you. Is it correct to say that if a player like Leo DeVries, I think we read from Dennis Lynn, I think Dennis wrote this week, he's maybe the only true untouchable. I think for me and Jim, we'd both be very surprised if either DeVries or Salas were to move this year at the deadline. That would shock you, right? If either of those two players move between now and the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, I think, DeVries because of the upside, Salas because of the combination of the upside, and he's been out of action for as long as he has. I think it just the chance that you could get what you think he's worth in a trade is pretty low. So I would be utterly shocked to see those two guys move this year.
And I know there's not really an update on Salas. He's still recovering from his injury, but having an injury in a year where you kind of wanted to maybe, a lot of people probably wanted to see a little more from him, right? I guess not concerning is the word, but I'll use it. How concerning maybe is his injury here in year 2 for his development?
I think everybody sort of sees it as, we know the players get hurt.
Yeah.
There's, all things equal, rather see him in action on the field and see what's going on. But I don't think anybody's wildly concerned. I mean, it is a lower back injury for a catcher, but as I understand it from my many years in medical school, it's an injury that if he can build up the strength and getting this break shouldn't be something that's a massive ongoing concern. So I think it's frustrating, but it's not problematic.
David, we appreciate you hopping on as always. Obviously a busy month coming up in the organization and of course at the major league level with the trade deadline approaching. And again, for our listeners, make sure to check out madfriars.com, a terrific resource for Padres fans. We'll do it again soon, my friend. Thanks for hopping on.
Sounds good. It's good to talk to you guys.
All right, we're going to hear from Mike Schilt on the other side as the Padres get ready for the Phillies game, one of a 3-game series from Citizens Bank Ballpark in Philadelphia. We'll hear from Mike Schilt next. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Padres, Phillies, game one of this 3-game series from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia coming up at some point in the next 20 or 30 minutes. Jim, do you want to hear from Mike Schilt?
Yeah, what do you got?
All right, so Mike Schilt spoke with the media prior to today's game, and he initially was asked about the return of Matt Waldron.
Good to have Matt back. Part of the club last year, carried us actually about this part of the season last year. Picked up a lot of big innings for the All-Star break. Right after the All-Star break was a big part of the reason we were able to get what we got to last year. Unfortunately, the oblique, got him in spring training, back and ready to go. And as far as usage goes, clearly he's a knuckleball pitch. He's going to throw it. But he's also has other pitches, so him and Maldy will tag team and see what's working and go get him.
I don't say concerns, but any difference on his part in terms of pitching in those thin air conditions over in that league versus coming back down here? I mean, is it sometimes difficult to evaluate what that knuckleball is actually doing in those thinner air conditions or not?
I think it's probably hard to evaluate that league in general to some level. But I think we know what we have in Matt over the last several years, and we'll evaluate it tonight.
Yeah. You're going up against a guy like Wheeler. He's been especially tough this year, really living on the edges even more than he normally does. From a hitting standpoint, does that mean you have to be even more patient to make sure you don't go after something that might be a pitcher's pitch, or do you maybe get a little less finicky knowing that it's less likely you're going to get a cookie at some point?
Yeah, listen, we're excited about the competition today. We're excited about facing a, really good pitcher that, is playoff tested. So relative to, approach, listen, we're going to be just as stingy as he is. It really comes down to that. Really good pitchers, especially playoff pitchers, are going to be, they don't give you much. That's why those scores are low. And so, the ability to make sure we're taking advantage of the few mistakes that he may or may not make, and take good at bats. And then the other thing is we get opportunity to make, we make productive outs too. We were able to move runners appropriately, but the stinkiness goes both ways.
Any update on you when you might be throwing again? Darvish?
Yeah, Darvish throwing tomorrow in a simulated game in Lake E.
Has the expectation to increase the workload a little bit? Did we did last time? Any expectation around that?
I think we'd like to take it the next step. Through 51 pitches, 3 innings, 51 pitches. If he's progressing like, we'd expect him to get back to us, we're looking at, 460-ish type area. But that's one of the reasons he's getting a controlled environment to be able to do that as opposed to an actual game, which, you never know what's going to happen in some of those issues, those games. Yes, sir, I did. That's okay. Yeah. No, come on, Ace. I don't believe it. Great hair. Birdie's doing well. The good news is, after the fact he took the comebacker, he's healed. He's been able to play catch again, throwing sides again. And it looks like, he'll go and get a game at some point here fairly soon, and then get built back up. Also, the good news, he hadn't been down for a while, so the build-up won't take as long. And he should be available to come back without anything outside of the ordinary when he's eligible to after the 15 days.
Mike, would that be kind of contingent just on how other people are pitching like that?
Yeah, I think it's always contingent upon that. But, Matt threw the ball extremely well. Matt's getting an opportunity tonight. We're in the time – it's a big leagues, as Scan mentioned, big series are all big. Every game's big. So it's, what happens in the big leagues with guys that are continuing to establish themselves is just that. They got to continue to establish themselves. And, it can be somewhat fluid. But we've had Kolek who's taken the ball and literally, not giving it back to anybody else and pitched really well. And, Berger was in that spot before he got getting to that spot where he got hurt. But we do have Darvish that is knocking back on the door.
He feels those standards probably down his own stride, some of his own stuff.
Yeah, I do. I really believe that. We felt like this, and rightfully you get asked the questions because it's a performance-based game, and some of the performance hadn't been up to his, the standards. And I could comfortably and confidently answer, 3 weeks ago or so, that we were seeing more consistency in Xander's bat speed, play zone discipline, exit velocity. We just weren't seeing the results. And so I'm glad he didn't get discouraged, started showing up and continue to take good at bats and doing the things and driving the ball in the middle part of the field. Now we're seeing the results, and he's feeling he's in a good spot.
What's the same about him that he's a guy that enjoys posting every day and showing up and just facing the challenge?
It's a wonderful trade. It's a hard trade. Back to Ace's question about starters getting to establish themselves. It's one of the things that does allow you to establish yourself in this league, and then you can play, and you can do other things, and it's also the part of being a real professional, and that's why this guy's been a winning player and been on 2 World Series winning clubs. That he knows the game's hard. He knows the offense isn't going to go his way. But he also knows he's got a responsibility as a professional to show up and go play other aspects of the game. He's got 13 to 14 bags. He's been an excellent base runner. He's played really good defense. And so he's done other things to help us contribute to win and doesn't allow the other things to affect that and still show up with a good attitude is what a real winning pro does.
Mike, what do you think is the future of knuckleball?
The future of knuckleball? That's a great question. Because I'm a big, this Jason, we talk about the player development when we do talk is, I believe a lot of things trickle up, and how players are trained now with max effort, swinging and throwing, especially throwing, is where it's being monetized. So now if everybody's training and successfully throwing harder and spinning with more spin, there's less art to the pitching side of it. And I think pitching is part of the artistic, the knuckleball is part of the artistic aspect of it. So somewhat long answer to your question, I don't see a lot. There's not as much tinkering going on. It's grip it, rip it, it's spin it hard. It's not as much feel or nuance to create. The curveball is kind of gone away a little bit more relative to the slider or sweeper or cutter. You don't see as many of those. So I don't know if the knuckleball's got a ton of life, relative to 20 years ago when there was, a handful of guys in the league, because I don't think it's going to be something that people in labs are trying to whip out, the knuckleball and see the efficiency of it. But I do think there's always a place for it.
We do live in a world where teams are looking to zig when everyone else is zagging. That would definitely be a zig.
It's definitely a zig. And one of the things that 100 years ago in player development is before this guy got released, something changed from a pitching standpoint. Whether it's an arsenal, whether it's an arm action, you got dropped down. Something got somewhat dramatically changed to exhaust every possibility. And one of those exhaustions are, can this guy throw a knuckleball? And but most of the times the guys play catch with it and mess around with it and then raise their hand and say, I can throw this. So I haven't heard many people say, let's try to see if he can throw a knuckleball. But to that point, I don't know how teachable it is either. That's out of my depth. So it's a good question. Good baseball question.
A lot of knuckleball talk, Jim.
Knuckleball.
A lot of knuckleball talk. Matt Waldron returns to the big leagues for the first time in 2025. We'll see if he can beat Zach Wheeler tonight in Philadelphia. We're going to hear from Jim Bowden again on the other side on the upcoming trade deadline because he's got a player he thinks the Padres are going to land. He really is talking a lot about this player heading to San Diego. So you'll hear that from Jim Bowden, the former Major League Baseball general manager. On the other side, a ton to get to, including a giveaway. We're here until 6. It's John and Jim.
A givey?
A givey. We got a givey today. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. Padres Phillies. Looks like the game will get underway on time today. 3:40 first pitch. Matt Waldron making the start, his season debut with the Padres tonight against Zach Wheeler for the Phillies. And Bryce Harper, he has returned to the Phillies lab tonight after being on the IL since June 5th. Macy's Backstage is a whole new floor inside your Macy's store. And right now, you'll find the latest summer styles for all under $25 with new arrivals every day. You never know what amazing deals you'll find. So don't wait. Find a location at macysbackstage.com today.
All right, Jim, have you seen Britt Floyd and Alan Parsons at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater? The answer is probably no, because they haven't played there yet.
I was going to say, what?
But you have a chance. July 12th, Cal Coast Credit Open Air Theater, which is a great spot, by the way. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. We'll give those tickets away in the 4 o'clock hour.
Perfect.
All right, so we'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour. Now, Jim Bowden.
Oh, Jim Bowden.
He's doing a lot of talking.
That's kind of his job.
I mean, he writes at The Athletic. He's also, on Foul Territory.
Is he a podcast? The podcast,
he's got
maybe?
the podcast. He's got the
Everyone's
writing.
got a podcast.
He's a 3-time Major League Baseball GM, but he's no longer a GM.
There's probably a reason why.
And he's got some thoughts on Sandy Alcantara to the Padres. So let's listen to this and react.
When Sandy Alcantara is right, he won the Cy Young Award. Anyone that's met him understands makeup is 80 out of 80. He's got the size. He understands how to win. He's getting healthy. We've watched the last 3 or 4 starts. Some people are going to want to see him do this more before willing to give up that kind of package. But he's an ace and he's controllable. You get him for 3 postseasons, right? They're going to lose Dylan Cease and Michael King in free agency. Unlikely they're going to be able to extend either one. And then where are you going to be next year, right? You don't know what Musgrove is going to look like after Tommy John. You don't know what Yu Darvish at 39 years old is going to be. So here's your ace, because your window's here to win, not just this year, but when you have Machado and Bogarts, Tatis, and all these guys signed, you want to keep winning. So here's your chance to get an ace. And will the price come back and burn you? With DeVries, it will. It'll be like James Wood. And you'll sit there and go, oh, how did you give him up? I get it. He's going to be a great player. I love him. But you're not going to get Alcantara without paying a price. In terms of Salas, look, I love the bat speed like everyone else does. He hadn't hit yet. I know he's 19 in AA. I love that. Hadn't hit yet at all anywhere. I'm not saying he's not going to. I like the player. But sometimes we overhype these guys. You do have to hit a breaking ball in the big leagues, right? You do have to do that. And it's pretty hard hitting the big leagues if you can't hit in the minor leagues. I'm not saying he won't. I love the player. Don't get me wrong. But I think a lot of times people are reading about prospects and they're just assuming that they're going to live up to what everyone says. And all I would do is ask all of the viewers right now, go back and look at the top 50 prospects from all the websites you want over the last 15 years. And then maybe look at it a little bit differently.
What are you talking about?
You know what's funny? I was going to be like, listen, I don't hate this. I wasn't hating the take on he was making a decent point for Alcantara being controllable.
Right.
And they need starting pitching. And then I heard DeVries and Salas, and I know he already wrote about this and we've talked about it. Mm-hmm. But to hear him kind of double down on it, like, dude, it's not happening. No. Now, is there a path with a lower return? I mean, we are talking about the Marlins. They've been fleeced before. Could they be fleeced, and would you have an interest for a lower return? That, to me, is a different conversation. I might have an interest in the player for a lower return, even with him having a down year, because it is true. I mean, are the Padres really all in and only in on 2025? They're going to think about 2026. But to think about 26 and 27 and not include Leo DeVries or Ethan Salas as a member of the Padres in the future, you can't. You're not trading for Sandy Alcantara and trading those 2 players. Sorry, not happening.
Who's the GM for the Marlins? He has a Peter Bendix.
Peter Bendix, man.
If AJ Preller called Peter Bendix and they had a conversation about, some players, and they got to Sandy Alcantara, and the conversation went, hey, Peter, so we want Sandy. We'll offer you, Ethan Salas, Louis DeVries. We take that? Yeah. Okay, perfect. We'll ship him over right now. That's Peter Bendix's answer to AJ Preller offering Ethan Salas and Leo DeVries. Like less than a second. He doesn't even need to finish his sentence.
You're saying Bendix can do that without ownership getting involved?
Bendix would do that in a millisecond.
Bendix is not getting Leo DeVries. No. This is a ridiculous conversation.
It is. Why are we talking about
traded
this, Jim?
Now, listen,
Bowden.
Arise maybe doesn't have the value of like a frontline starting pitcher that's been a Cy Young. But then again, look at what he's done here in 2025. But I mean, they traded for a controllable hit king. And what did they give up? They didn't give anything up. So my point is, I don't think all of a sudden, like they're going to give up everything for Sandy Alcantara. Sandy Alcantara is not Sandy Alcantara winning the Cy Young. He's won a Cy Young. Doesn't mean he's going to win one again.
He's 4-8 this year with a 6.98 ERA.
Numbers are awful.
In 80 innings pitched, he has given up 62 earned runs. That leads the majors. He has a negative 1.3 WAR. He definitely is a player that has like that outlier season, kind of similar to Luis Robert Jr., where he had the 38 home runs in that one season.
Nothing else is
and every
like
season was like 14 to 12 to 14 home runs, like tops. And you look at Sandy Alcantara's baseball reference page, and 2022, he has an 8 WAR, 14-9 with a 2.28 ERA, 6 complete games, 1 shutout, led the league in innings pitched, over 200 strikeouts, and then everything else is just like blah. Not blah, but not even close to 2022.
Yeah, I don't understand this whole like go bet on Sandy Alcantara. Like if I'm going to move heaven and earth, why would it be for that player? Because he previously won a Cy Young before Tommy John. There's no guarantee this player or pitcher is going to be the same as he once was. And it's one thing to give up on one highly ranked prospect. All right, most teams have to do that at deadlines. You got to make decisions. To give up on the 2 highest ranked position players in the organization we've talked about for years.
Makes no sense, dude.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. I'd be surprised personally if Ethan Salas was involved in any move this deadline, even with the struggles, the frustrations, and the injury. Why would I sell him low if I'm AJ Preller?
If somebody took that sound and sent it to AJ, or took the article that Jim Bowden wrote, his trade, piece, right?
Yep.
And if they sent like a screenshot to AJ, my guess would be that his response would be like a laughing face emoji.
Yeah. I mean, I don't forecast it. I also think we haven't even gotten into this conversation much today, but you also have to look at it through the eyes of AJ Preller and be like, what am I really going to give up for this team? Now I get it. What Jim Bowden said made sense to me. You're talking about 2026 and 2027 too.
Not for DeVries and Salas.
That's the thing. I mean, you're talking about potentially guys that are going to spend a decade plus in the big leagues. Even if Salas isn't the player we think he is, he's going to be a serviceable catcher for a long time, would be my guess in the major leagues. He's
Defensively.
He's going to spend a lot of time in the major leagues. So
you got Martin Maldonado. He's played forever, and because of his defense.
And there's reasons to believe that Ethan Salas' bat will play better than Maldonado's. And then the thing with Leo DeVries is, why on earth would you give up on him right now? I mean, it's not giving up if you can get something in return, but why on earth would you do that when he's widely regarded as as good of a position player as there is in the sport? So it makes no sense.
It would be organization malpractice.
Yeah. And then what happens if you let's say you did that and then didn't make the postseason? Or the guy tanks you in 2025 and had a 7 ERA in the second half.
The only reason why everyone liked and went along with the trade in 2022 is because it was Juan freaking Soto.
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame
100%.
player.
That was so different.
100% different. Sandy Alcantara is not a Hall of Fame pitcher.
No, he's not.
Or is he in his prime? He's coming off Tommy John and he stinks.
Right.
He has had one really good season in his career, which was the Cy Young. He's had a couple other seasons that were definitely good, but not great compared to his 2022. It makes no sense. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. And that's why that trade is not going to happen. And again, I stick by the fact that I'd be surprised if either Ethan Salas or Leo DeVries are moved this year at the trade deadline. We're going to get to Is That Good? The best and worst of the sports weekend. We'll do that on the other side. We do have those tickets to give away in the 4 o'clock hour. Britt Floyd, Alan Parsons, Cal Coast Credit Open Air Theater. That's coming up on July 12th in less than 2 weeks. Padres and Phillies will get their series underway. We'll keep you updated from Philadelphia. We're here until 6 p.m. Don't go anywhere. John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. A reminder, Wednesday at 6, right here on San Diego Sports 760, SDFC Midweek Live. You'll hear from Mikey Varis, interviews with players and coaches, find out the latest on the first place SDFC Soccer Club. Midweek Live every Wednesday at 6 on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760.
Would you consider a perfect road trip good?
Yeah, would they get 9 points out of 3 games on the road?
3 games on the road for SDFC, 9 points on the road for SDFC, still in first place in the Western Conference.
Yeah, they're not going to drop if they keep winning.
No.
I mean, at this point, like, where are they among the favorites to win the MLS Cup? I'm sure that exists somewhere.
Well, if you just look at the overall, point leaders in all of Major League Soccer, they have the second most points in the entire league, only behind Philadelphia. And they lead Vancouver by a point in the West. And they are 5 points up on Minnesota in third place. So right now, just picking up points is going to guarantee them a playoff spot at the worst. But if they keep winning these games, man, they are going to be in just prime position to not only host a playoff game here at Snapdragon Stadium, but to be in first place going in the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this point, the goal shouldn't be making the postseason. Obviously, the goal should be winning the postseason. By the way, June 18th at BetMGM, so this is 2 weeks ago, they had the third shortest odds to win it all at plus 1,000. They were 10-1 to win it all 2 weeks ago, and all they've done since then is go 3-0. So they're probably like 7-1 right now in Vegas to win the MLS Cup.
And they were picked to finish in second to last place or dead last.
I mean, MLSsoccer.com had them in last place.
It's crazy.
Last place.
Wow.
All right, Brent, let's get to it.
Is that good?
Wilcox, snapper, Huber, holder from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly. Kick on the way. Boswell.
All right, do you want me to start? Oh, wait, the good and bad from the sports weekend.
Oh, sorry.
Normally you start.
Oh, you can start.
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah.
All right, let me go here because it's officially official. The Pac-12 has its 8th all-sports member that was, checked. That box was checked earlier today. Texas State officially joining the Pac-12 conference beginning in 2026. Is that good?
It is good.
That's
Very
really good.
It is. It is. We've been talking about it for a long time. It's now official.
All right, so I've ripped this player.
Okay.
And I've said that this player needs to be a better basketball player in order to meet the rival and the expectations that are put on her. Angel Reese. Angel Reese had a good weekend. I have to give her credit. Against the LA Sparks, she put up 24 points, 16 rebounds, only 4 offensive rebounds in the game. So they weren't me bounds. They were.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, they were not me bounds. Only 4 offensive, 16. She was 10 for 19 from the field. Brent, is that good?
It is good.
If I'm going to rip her, I have to give her credit and give her due if she has a good game. And not only a good game, that's a really good game from Angel Reese.
I think that's well done.
Yeah.
Fernando Tatis Jr., listen, we've been complimentary a lot over his career, but not right now. It's been a tough couple of months, more specifically, a tough couple of games. His last 7 games, Fernando Tatis Jr. is mired in a 154 slump. Is that good?
No, he's not good. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's not good at all.
And he's 0 for 1 today, so let's say 151.
151.
Over his last 7+ games.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good. Not good at all. Xander Bogaerts actually has been playing pretty decently. Yesterday he went 3 for 4 with a home run, which is really good. His last 7 games, he's hitting about 300, and he's slugging 542. Brent, is that good?
Yeah, he's been better. Now, he hasn't been fully healthy, and he left yesterday's game due to cramps, but he's back in there tonight against the Phillies. And speaking of the Phillies, it's Bryce Harper returning from the 10-day IL today to bat third to face Matt Waldron and the Padres. So Harper back for this 3-game series against the Padres in Philadelphia. Is that good?
It is good.
Explain.
For baseball.
It's good for baseball to have him back. I mean, you're going to see a lot of the Phillies the next 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Here in Philadelphia for 3, and then here in San Diego for 3 in about a week and a half.
Did you know, or did anybody know that Jake Paul fought this past weekend?
Who did he fight?
I heard, afterwards.
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
How would we have watched it? I didn't hear anything about it.
I did not know a single thing about it, but he won the fight, unanimous decision.
Okay.
So
where is he in his whole fighting
He's
career?
fighting real boxers now, but they're not like,
in their prime.
They're not in their
Okay.
prime. They're
That'd be
older boxers.
Mike Tyson.
I'll give him credit. He's at least fighting boxers, and he's trying to work his way up. He's not fighting just celebrities the entire time, but he definitely manipulates it so he is going to be in a good position against these older fighters. But I got to give him credit. I mean, he keeps winning. Now, the people that he's fighting, they may be getting something under the table to to make sure they don't win these fights. But Jake Paul wins another fight over the weekend. Brent, is that good? Not good.
I saw a meme over the weekend that said that Jake Paul is to boxing to what the Savannah Bananas are to baseball.
Well, the Savannah Bananas, they're not trying to be baseball. Jake Paul's trying to be a boxer. Savannah Bananas, they're just trying to have as much fun as possible. And they are saying to everybody, this is like a Broadway show, but with, real people that are playing baseball and not acting. They're just.
I think that's the point of the meme. Lots of people are thinking that Jake Paul fights are just a Broadway show.
By the way, not that this has to do with boxing, but it has to do with your wrestling, WWE.
Oh, yes.
Did you see they put a on sale date for your Survivor Series War Games San Diego of Friday, July 11th at 8 a.m. Pacific. Again, this event will be at Petco. And then there's another event. Maybe it's more for the back page, but how about this, Brent? We were doing some reconnaissance on social media, and there is something listed at the San Diego Convention Center for December 12th through 14th. Fanatics Fest San Diego. The card experience sports trading.
It's like Comic-Con for cards.
Right, that just happened. It's only happened twice in New York. And it's listed on the Convention Center website, and it links to fanatics.com. There's no information, but that's being listed right now at the Convention Center's website.
The thing about the WWE announcement today is when they initially announced it a couple months ago, they just announced that Survivor Series would be coming to Petco Park. They didn't announce that it was going to be War Games.
What's the difference here?
The difference is War Games has 2 rings, 1 cage. There's a women's War Games match. There's a men's War Games match. I'm not going to explain it to you because you wouldn't understand. But today they officially announced it as a Survivor Series War Games. So I thought that was significant.
Are both of you or either of you planning to go to this event in November?
I want to go. The thing is, the tickets are going to be through the roof. And I'm not going to get tickets because it's just going to be too much. So hoping that iHeart can come through with something or
don't hold your breath.
Or yeah, I know exactly. Or just apply to be a media member.
Yeah, don't hold your breath on that either. They're really stingy about that. I tried a bunch of times.
You could have applied to get floor seating as part of the experience, but it says it's sold out. Floor seating is already sold out, and bowl seating is sold out.
How? What?
I don't know.
Because that was, remember they put out that you could get put on that special early reserve list. So those were probably the ones that sold out.
I mean, how much are tickets going to be? Seriously, like if you're in the second to last row, like bad seats, hard to see.
$200.
Only live once. Go.
I'm going to log in on that Friday and at least see all the tickets I can't afford.
Yeah. $200.
Yeah.
Not going to take it with you.
Sometimes it's better to watch events at home if you're going to be sitting in the last row.
True.
And I think at Petco, I think that's going to be a good venue for wrestling because I think you're so high up that I think that even if you are in like the quote nosebleeds, you'll still be all right.
And you'll have the giant scoreboard to watch it on.
That's a good point. All right, on the other side, we're going to get to the wrap. We are giving away tickets today to see Britt Floyd, Alan Parsons. This will be at the Cal Coast Credit Open Air Theater on July 12th. For tickets and information, you can visit Ticketmaster.com. We're keeping you updated on Phillies and Padres from Citizens Bank Park, where neither team has scored as they head to the second inning. Zach Wheeler
pitching duel.
Matt Waldron. All right, hour 3 of John and Jim. That'll come your way next. This is John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, so today is brought to you by Amazon Prime Day. Padres and Phillies underway in Philadelphia. Scoreless the top of the second inning there. In NBA news over the weekend, LeBron James, he opted into his 1-year, $53 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, there's some good news and there's some great news. The good news is that Prime Day is almost here. The great news this year, you'll have 4 days to find deals on all your favorite things. Shop Prime Day July 8th through the 11th.
It's John and Jim to warm up that drive home.
The Padres are fully asking Manny Machado to carry this offense, which even of a player of his caliber is not fully fair because when he slumps, which he is right now, where are you turning?
What we were expecting is guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Luis Ariz to be all-stars. And they're not. There's one player in there that will be an all-star.
Now, time for John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 3 of John and Jim. We've got a giveaway for you this hour. We're keeping our eye on Padres and Phillies underway at Citizens Bank Park, game 1 of a 3-game series. We'll give away those Britt Floyd, Alan Parsons tickets, July 12th, Cal Coast Credit Open Air Theater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. And there's a lot to get to over the course of the next couple of hours. So we'll get to it all, but right now let's get to this.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
What are the odds LeBron is not a Laker next season?
Less than 1%. That he's not.
Did you say because of the money?
I just say because
he opted in?
He opted in, no trade.
But what about the statement?
Oh, about his what statement from him? He didn't have one.
His agent.
They're monitoring things.
Yeah. I mean, isn't there a reason for him to say that?
Why
is he saying that?
Did you see that viral video that's kind of gone around of LeBron at a sushi restaurant?
Yeah, saying that his wife wants him to retire next year or so.
He mentioned man, the Knicks look pretty good to go to.
That's what I'm saying, though. When you combine the statement from Clutch, right, the agency.
Bro, he's not going anywhere.
Do you think is it just to put pressure on the Lakers to try to win now, even though clearly they're trying to win around Luka, so they don't have to win immediately?
Yes, LeBron is slowly realizing that the Lakers organization has pivoted to build a team around Luka and to make sure that, hey, Luka's the focal point here of the franchise, not anymore LeBron.
Right.
Like they're throwing away an old toy. But the problem is the old toy is still really good.
So that's rubbing LeBron and his team the wrong way. And he's trying to put his foot down and be like, by the way, I've only got 1, maybe 2 seasons we need to win now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I don't think he's going anywhere either. I just found it interesting. There was a lot of discussion about it over the course of the weekend because of just like the tenor of the statement, basically saying, do this or else. But he's also making $53 million next year. And is he really leaving LA?
No.
I mean, and where is he going? Who can take on the $53 million? So I'm with you. I think we'll absolutely be back in Los Angeles next year. Next question.
How excited are you for EA Sports to bring back its college basketball video game franchise?
Let's go.
I mean, we wanted to buy a PS5, Brent, when you had a PS5 for the college football video game, for college football, and now they have college basketball. Like, where do I buy this thing? It's not coming out for a while.
No, it won't come out for a while. It's the same feeling that we had when EA Sports college football came out.
I know.
We want a PS5. We want the game.
I know.
And it will quickly fade because how can we have any time to play video games now?
Now that we're collecting cards.
Correct. It's just one or the other.
And like Kristen would literally kill me if I brought home a video game system,
Aaron would
especially
too.
the 6-year-old. But
what are you doing?
Doesn't it look super fun? The idea. They're talking about all men's teams and women's teams.
It's amazing.
Might not come out until 2028, but it's still something to look forward to.
I'm kind of hoping that this means that 2K is going to make an announcement too, because they make a better basketball game than EA does.
Yeah.
And they also made a college basketball game before the whole O'Bannon lawsuit thing popped up.
Right.
So I'm kind of hoping, because EA has the exclusive rights to the NFL. So Madden's the only NFL game you're ever going to get, but they don't have a deal like that with NCAA. So I'm kind of hoping 2K does it because they're like the kings of like video game basketball. So that would be the dream to get them to do it.
I'd like to see the game.
But EA's better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Next question.
How good is SDFC?
Very good. I think they have a legitimate chance to do some really special things here for their first ever season in MLS. They're the best team in the Western Conference. They're one of the better teams in all of MLS. They're exciting to watch. They're fun to watch. They put up a lot of goals. They score a lot of goals. They just feel like there's something special brewing here, and you hope that they don't get showered with the San Diego sports curse here.
Fair point.
Can they pull it off? Maybe. They're going to have a good shot. We'll see what happens, but they are a really good soccer team.
Do we know the format for the MLS Cup playoffs, Jim?
Do we? You're asking the wrong person, man.
Okay, so it's a best of 3 round 1. If you're a top 7 seed, 8 and 9 play like in a wild card, and then once you have the 8 teams, it's a best of 3, which means no matter what your seed is, you're guaranteed a home match because you're either going to play game 1 at home, or you're going to play game 2 at home, presumably in that format. So they're going to be playing at home if they can make the postseason and avoid that wild card match, which they should be doing. They play 20 matches. They have the most points in the Western Conference. So, yeah, it's an incredible story. I think it's one of the best stories going on in sports right now, and it's playing out right here in San Diego. Next question.
Do you think the Pac-12 is done expanding?
For now, I don't think they're done expanding in the future. When that is, I don't know. But for now, I think that they're pretty set on these 8 teams and the football conference going forward with the addition of Texas State today.
Right. So Texas State, this was Ross Dellinger, by the way, just a few hours ago. For now, there are no imminent plans for the Pac-12 to make other membership additions. The league is next expected to finalize agreements with more media partners to join CBS Sports. So that was Ross Dellinger. They're expected to finalize more media agreements. There's no imminent plans for the Pac-12 to expand. So you got 8 for football. You have 9 for basketball because of Gonzaga. Could they ultimately get to 9 for football and 10 potentially for basketball? I think it's a possibility. But what is the timeline on that? Nobody, I guess, knows for certain. And I guess there's no guarantee of it. But for now, we know this. All that concern about, are they going to get to 8 members? Is it going to be an official conference? Are they going to be able to play in postseasons? Are they eligible for conference championship games? That's all by the wayside.
Yep.
It's now officially an 8-team FBS football conference.
And that's what they needed to get to.
Yep, exactly.
Now they came in like at the wire here.
Right. Yeah, June 30th. We said July 1, right?
But the good thing is they got it done, and now they have 8 schools in their conference for the football side.
Yeah.
They have Gonzaga for the basketball side, and they are ready to go.
Are you, I've asked this 100 times. Are you in favor of St. Mary's or not for basketball? I forget.
Oh, I've said 100% yes.
You're 100% not St. Mary's.
Yeah.
And are you in favor of maybe adding like a football affiliate? As in, St. Mary's doesn't play football, so they can do the basketball side. And what if you brought in, Memphis is, I don't even know how reasonable it is. Or maybe another school in Texas to play football with the other 8 schools. So then, boom, you have 9 football schools.
Like who?
Rice, UTSA.
I'd take
Something
UTSA.
like that. Yeah, they're playing the, what is the name of San Antonio football stadium? I call them Alliance of American Football game there. It's Final Fours, the Alamo Dome.
I would,
you got a big football stadium.
I would take them
indoors.
If you got St. Mary's in basketball and UTSA in football.
Yeah, you got 2 Texas schools now for football, which means you're going to Texas every year. You're either going to play UTSA on the road or you're going to play
It's
Texas
not
State.
all the way on the East Coast, but you're still traveling to a good area, and you get that area for recruiting in your conference.
Exactly.
I would take that right now, and don't. You're going to get the people that are like, "Are you serious? Texas State? This doesn't change anything. It's just the Mountain West 2.0." Yeah, it kind of is, but it's a step up, and it's more money revenue, more money sharing through the conference, better TV deal than the Mountain West Conference had, and a better chance to make the college football playoff, and a better chance in basketball with Gonzaga and San Diego State there to really have, kind of a premier type of conference in basketball where you're playing some really good competition in your league.
Yeah, I don't see this Mountain West 2.0. I understand that argument's been made. I see it as the top of the Mountain West with Oregon State, Washington State, which to me is better than the Mountain West has been. By the way, we'll update Phillies and Padres. It's 1-0 Phillies in the second inning, and the Phillies are threatening for more. Matt Waldron making his 2025 debut. It has not gone swimmingly to this point, but it's only 1-0. We'll see if they can keep it there. The other thing that's playing out in real time, dude, is that NBA free agency begins in a few hours officially, and Shams is just tweeting, man.
I thought it already started.
Has it officially started as of today?
I thought it started at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, so there's things happening, man. Shams is tweeting.
Yeah, I know.
There's just tweets left and right.
Oh, this is when I think teams can start talking to players.
Okay. Like there's just deals. I mean, I don't know what the biggest one is or what the biggest one is expected to be.
I don't think teams can agree on anything.
I mean, you might be right in the 330, dude, because he's tweeting out like guys are agreeing 3-year, $28 million here. D'Angelo Russell there. Michael Porter Jr. has been traded to the Brooklyn Nets. Like
For
things
Cam
happening.
Johnson? Oh, that's a good trade for the Nuggets.
Does any sport have
I'm
as
actually
much?
Serious.
Is any sport have as much movement? NBA is just everything moves. The players, the picks.
Here's the thing. Shams, he tweets it all.
Everything.
And do we really need a graphic and a post that says free agent forward Jake La Ravia
I saw that too.
has agreed to a 2-year, $12 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers? Do we really need that tweet?
And of course, the answer is yes.
Do we really need a free agent guard? Trey Jones has agreed to a 3-year, $24 million deal to return to the Chicago Bulls, sources tell ESPN.
He's obviously not tweeting this out, right? He's got people that work with him.
He has created these tweets, and they've all been in his
yeah,
drafts.
yeah, like during the drafts. Yeah.
Do we really need the Memphis Grizzlies and guard Cam Spencer has agreed to a 2-year, $4.5 million fully guaranteed contract? Like, do we really need that?
That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting for the what's big that could happen in the next 24 hours.
A Giannis trade.
Give me what about a free agent? Well, who's the biggest free agent in the NBA right now?
It's a good question, John.
Is that a good question? Biggest NBA free agents.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm not really quite sure.
Okay, I just typed that NCB number one free agent. Remember back in the day, like NBA summer, LeBron, Kawhi, where are they going to land? Number one NBA free agent at CBSSports.com, Miles Turner of the Pacers. Nice player, but 10-year like vet. Miles Turner. Number two, restricted free agent, Jonathan Kuminga.
Oh yeah, that's the player that I'm waiting to see what happens because he impacts what the Warriors are going to do, and if he signs elsewhere, which it looks like he's going to, they're going to have to figure out a sign and trade.
Okay, because he's a restricted free agent, not an unrestricted free agent.
But other than that,
those are your big moves.
If LeBron's not going to be on the move here, if the Bucks aren't going to trade Giannis, if the Knicks aren't going to do anything, the KD trade already happened on the Game 7 day of the NBA Finals of all days. I really don't see anything big here that's going to like really impact the dynamic of the NBA.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I always think it's funny that nobody is as anal about tampering as the NBA is. If Magic Johnson goes on Jimmy Kimmel and just says, "Oh yeah, Giannis is a good player," they got warned for tampering, but yet, free agency starts at 3 p.m. and at 3:01 we have 37 deals that have all been worked out in a minute, and it's just like, oh, but there's no tampering going on there, but. I just think that's kind of funny.
We will hear from Shams later this hour. Also, Major League Baseball and ESPN. Remember, they part ways at the end of this season, or do they? We've got the latest. Plus, we've got a giveaway for you coming up later this hour. We're keeping our eye on Padres and Phillies as well. This is John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is John and Jim again for the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Get there this weekend. San Diego's biggest barbecue, Saturday, July 5th. Free food from 12 to 3, $25,000 hot seats from 3 to 7. Free food, live music for all Sweetwater Rewards members. Swipe at any promotional kiosk after 12 p.m. for your tickets to the party. And then starting at 3, they'll be giving away $1,000 free play every 10 minutes.
And this Thursday, July 3rd, it's first Thursday drawings in Latin night from 7 p.m. to midnight. Join them for Thursday drawings with a guaranteed $30,000 in cash prizes. You can earn entries daily for your chance to win. Plus, stay for the excitement of Latin night afterwards.
Plus, you're going to love Tony Gwynn's Sports Pub, the ultimate sports showdown. You can catch the Padres, all the sports action there, plus great food where fandom meets fantastic at Tony Gwynn's Sports Pub. All available for you at the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. All right, AM radio keeps vital voices accessible, and Congress can secure its future, but we do need your help. You can text AM to 52886 now to support keeping AM radio in cars. Tell your member of Congress to pass legislation now. Keep AM radio in cars. Standard message and data rates apply. We've seen this script before. The Padres have not scored in the first few innings in Philadelphia. They trail 1-0. It is early.
Shocker.
They're facing a very good starting pitcher in Zach Wheeler. They have once again failed to come through with men in scoring position. They had a couple of chances in the second inning, did not cash in. Waldron could have been worse in the second, Jim. I think he's trying to run a third with 1 out after allowing a run. So,
but hey, John, they're hitting the ball hard.
They're hitting line drives. They're hitting line drives. At the end of the year, you think they'll. Hey, that year wasn't great, but they were second in baseball in line drives.
It's the Baseball Savant page conversation that I have. While Baseball Savant can tell you a lot, it also, to me, matters more what the player's like numbers are than his like hard hit ball rate. If his hard hit ball rate is in the 99th percentile, but he's hitting 220 with a 730 OPS, I mean, what are we going to look at more? His actual numbers or his hard ball hit rate?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I mean, here's the thing. I use Savant to back up a player having a good year. I don't use Savant to excuse a bad year.
No, I can't do that
Yeah,
because
like,
then we're just
year, but
then we're just kind of making excuses for guys and bad numbers.
well, we don't. One thing Manny doesn't say, he doesn't say, "Hey, take a look at the back of my baseball savant page." He says, "Take a look at the back of my baseball card." At least the baseball card has actual things that occurred.
Well, the Padres, when Xander was slumping, said the same thing. Now,
Yeah,
again, he's gotten a little.
now he's been better
He's gotten a little better for
He's
sure.
He
For his
has gotten a
standards.
lot better. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not good enough. I agree, but he has played better. He hasn't played great, but he has played absolutely better. All right. Speaking of baseball, remember how there was a lot of reporting about ESPN and Major League Baseball? The deal was done. Sunday Night Baseball, Wild Card Series, Home Run Derby, that this is going to be the last year, 2025. Not so fast. The Athletic reporting today that Major League Baseball and ESPN have renewed talks to keep baseball on the network. Now, what does that mean remains to be seen. Could be a very short deal because Major League Baseball wants to take all of their rights in-house for things like MLB.TV and Padres.TV in the near future. But this idea that ESPN and Major League Baseball were done, Jim, that may not be the case. And who knows what other options MLB has for its rights in 2026 and beyond.
My question is, who went back to who?
Right. Who placed the call first? Or
Was
the
it
email?
was it Major League Baseball after realizing that the grass is not greener on the other side, or was it ESPN saying, you know, we actually need baseball? My guess is it was baseball because ESPN, they don't need Major League Baseball. They have the NFL, college football playoffs.
Yeah.
They're fine.
Yeah. They have the NBA. They've spent tens of
And they have the NBA,
millions.
you're right. So they have the NBA finals. Well,
And
through
they
the
have
partnership with ABC. They have the Super Bowl coming up in 3 or 4 years. They have Monday Night Football,
NBA regular season.
NBA regular season games. They have
Inside
college
the
football.
NBA.
They have inside the NBA now.
Yeah.
College football games. They have the college football playoffs.
Right.
Do they really need Major League Baseball? The answer
I
probably is
agree with
no.
you. Remember, it was pretty foolish. Again, we've given Rob Manfred credit actually over the last 12 or 24 months. There have been some things that have worked. The pitch clock. I don't know, other initiatives. Obviously, like ABS system coming to baseball maybe in 2026.
Robo ABS.
But I will say this: when Manfred had a statement when like ESPN walked away from like their extension, and he was like, "Well, ESPN's like a failing business model. There's not as many households with ESPN as there used to be." That was a really poor decision. That was not calculated at all, and I think that might have bit them. Whatever they were getting from ESPN, the number's going down. But he probably realized even if the number goes down, we need ESPN. So they were getting a lot of money from ESPN. I think something like $550 million a year. And ESPN's like, we're not going to pay you $550 because Apple's not paying you that and Roku's not paying you that. We want baseball. We just don't want it at that price tag. So my guess is they come back, tail between their legs, and say, let's work together. And I'm saying Major League Baseball comes back to ESPN and says, let's work together.
Cannot live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
That's right, Shakespeare.
Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Spaceballs.
I mean, it's not that far off.
Space Wars.
You got space in there, so that
Star
does have
Wars.
to do with space. No, John. No, that's not it.
Not Star Wars?
Not Star Wars. I'll give you one more guess.
Where did that bring you? Back to me.
Star Trek.
No,
I
you
don't know.
moron.
What is it?
Avengers, Endgame,
I was going to say
Thanos.
I was going to say Field of Dreams because that sounds like James Earl Jones.
Oh my goodness. That's Brolin right there. Josh Brolin who voices
That's
Thanos.
a good. That sounds a little bit like James Earl
He did a very good Thanos.
to me.
Very good Thanos. But that was my first thought when I saw this article, without even
Okay.
like diving too deep into it, is baseball tried to go see what they could get, and they realized, oh, maybe we shouldn't have potentially burned that bridge with ESPN. Let's go back and say we're sorry. And ESPN sitting there like, what are you guys doing?
Right. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to end other than I think Major League Baseball probably needs ESPN more than ESPN needs Major League Baseball. To your point.
100%.
So I don't know what that ultimately is going to mean, but we always talk about the regionalization of Major League Baseball, so they could probably use ESPN to kind of complete their national package of games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 1-0 Phillies over the Padres. By the way, to Brent's point, I didn't like on cue. NBA 2K within the hour has tweeted because it was EA Sports that's saying we'll be back. NBA 2K has just tweeted the campus has been quiet for too long. So, and it's got 10,000 likes in an hour. So we might get multiple college basketball games coming at some point in the near future.
Just give me all the college basketball
Yeah,
games.
just give us all the college games. Bring back college baseball,
baseball.
too.
Everything. I want all. EA,
Yes.
2K, everything. I want 2K. What they did NFL 2K. I want obviously Madden still out there. Like I want it all.
Okay, well, go buy a PS5.
I won't.
All right. On the other side, we're going to hear from Shams on NBA free agency underway. Are we expecting anything big, even though there aren't any big free agents available? We'll hear from Shams on the other side. Later this hour, we're giving away a pair of tickets to see Britt Floyd and Alan Parsons. This is at the Calcoast Credit Open Air Theater on July 12th. We're here until 6. Stay with us, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, and live on the iHeartRadio app.
This update is brought to you by Total Wine and More. Padres Phillies underway in Philadelphia, top of the fourth inning. And the Phillies lead the Padres 1-0 after Jackson Merrill robbed the Phillies of a home run. It was an amazing catch. He is up the plate right now in the fourth inning for the Padres. Ready to kick off summer right? Total Wine and More has the seltzers, spirits, and summertime essentials you need. The lowest prices, and over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find only at Total Wine and More. Spirits not only sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
All right. So as you just said, let's be honest, Jim. If he doesn't catch that ball, it's a 3-run home run. Are they really coming back tonight against Zach Wheeler from 4 runs? It was a hell of a catch, all the way up against the wall, perfectly timed jump, well over the 6-foot wall. He leaped up and made this play. Incredible catch. Maybe game saving if they can do something in this game. Now, it's only the 4th inning. They have plenty of time. They only trail by a run, but that's everything, isn't it? If that ball is hit an inch further or Jackson Merrill doesn't make that play, the difference between trailing 4-0 and 1-0 is the difference between having a chance to win this game or not having a chance to win this game.
Yeah, that could be a game-saving catch.
Could be.
Could be a game-saving catch.
And I get it's the 3rd inning. But I mean, we've seen great catches over the year, but that's one of the better catches for the Padres this year,
now,
considering the circumstance.
Jackson Merrill, he flied out in his at bat, but
caught him.
You see all the time a guy makes an amazing defensive play. Yeah. He's up the next inning. He does something great offensively.
I was thinking that too.
I was like, okay, here we go.
But when you lead off the next inning after making a good defensive play, there's no way your numbers aren't better. I guarantee your numbers are better.
Historically, they're better.
They definitely are.
Because you're hyped. You just made an amazing catch. You robbed the dude of a 3-run home run. I think I was preparing for Jackson Merrill to do something, but again, this offense is blah right now.
And again, if they trailed 4-0, I would spend the next 90 minutes on you. It's just, I don't see it. Now, they came back from 3-0 the other day, actually, in Cincinnati. So that they have done it. It's just, man, this offense, you got to keep it close because there's just not a lot of faith right now in those big innings. And maybe they come. I mean, Philadelphia is a park where you can score a lot of runs. It's a smaller park, warmer weather. It's 80-something degrees there tonight. So we'll see. It's only 1-0. They have plenty of time. They are facing a very good starting pitcher in Zach Wheeler. All right. Should we hear from Shams, Jim? Because NBA free agency is officially underway.
Sure. Let's hear from Shams and have him tell us how there's going to be some amazing things happening.
Okay.
There were a lot of deals yesterday popping off, Pat, and we're not even going yet.
Yeah,
up to something season.
Yeah, there was a lot of player options.
5 hours away, baby.
I mean, yesterday I just saw massive numbers with players decided to, I guess I'll take 45 million.
Yeah.
Player decided to, that sounds good, to 32 million a year. There was a bunch of those yesterday that were kind of popping off. Sunday, that was where the LeBron James opt-in, and then the conversation around that really all began. And then free agency tonight, we should expect a lot more, is what you're saying, it sounds like.
There's going to be some big deals tonight, Pat. That
was good. Oh, you're eager for this evening.
Big ones?
Yeah, how big we talking? You talking most craziest big?
Yeah. Better be.
No, not yet.
I shouldn't be talking because I'd be the person that says most craziest, but still, I don't work at ESPN and get paid hundreds of millions of dollars like Pat McAfee.
Right. So, okay, I mean,
what big deal is there going to be, Shams?
Well, like you said, if it's the trade of Giannis at some point in the next 24 hours, that is huge, right? With July being here. If it's anything else, when we talked about the free agents, it doesn't seem like there's anything of huge significance.
No.
Or like you said, league altering, like shifting dynamics.
No.
None of that.
I think it's all talk from Shams.
Well, that's kind of his job, right?
Yeah, got to hype it up.
Yeah,
hype up the NBA free agency.
Got the rights.
Yeah, got to hype it up. Other than a big trade happening, I think I don't think there's going to be anything that happens tonight. I really don't. I'm not holding my breath. And all these minor moves, they don't move me at all. Like they don't move me one bit.
Yeah, I'm with you. We'll see. And again, I mean, it seems as if, here's what I would say heading into the offseason. The West loaded, hard to predict. OKC is the front runner. All right. And then who's gonna make a run at OKC? East, wide open. I mean, is it Cleveland? Like, who is the best team in the East heading into the offseason? I have no idea.
Probably the Knicks, just by default. No, okay. Cavs.
Yeah.
Cavs.
I said Cleveland, but yeah, I mean, it just feels like that thing is completely wide open. I mean, to get back to this Padres conversation, I mean, it just is more of the same. I mean, we literally said last week, you can't go to Cincinnati and Philadelphia and struggle to score. We thought maybe this would be the road trip that gets them out of their offensive funk. And I mean, no hit through 8 innings the other day, 2 runs yesterday, scoreless through 4 innings today. I know they're facing a good pitcher, but that's kind of still the job, right?
Mhm.
To hit good pitching. And it's only 4 innings. They could win this game 10-1, but it's just more of the same. It's not Marine Layer. It's not Petco. It's not there's excuses everywhere. At the end of the day, it's just like, it's on this team to perform. And for whatever reason, they are not performing in the least bit offensively. And it's super frustrating to watch.
They can't hit right now with runners in scoring position. They're not a good baseball team against teams above 500. They're not clicking at all right now on offense. It's a bad combination all the way around. Just a bad combination all the way around. When you're 15-28 against teams above 500, you're looking at one of the worst records in baseball against teams over 500. And that would be your San Diego Padres.
Including like the Rockies?
I said one of, not one of the worst records in baseball against teams above 500. If I'm looking at the better teams in baseball, John, like Philadelphia is 19-21. The Mets are 20-15. All right. San Francisco's 21-17. The Dodgers are 20-16. Chicago's 23-26. Milwaukee's 21-20. The Yankees are 19-15. The Tampa Bay Rays, who somehow are actually really good.
Yeah.
Again, and playing in a minor league ballpark, are 22-13. The only team in baseball that's good, that has a comparable record against teams above 500. I would say the Toronto Blue Jays, and they're 15-21 against teams 500 over 500,
and they're over 500 for the year,
and they're 45-38. So essentially the same record as the Padres, and that's the closest I can find in baseball that's comparable to the Padres. Other than that, Padres 15-28, dude.
So would you feel good about them going into a 3-game wildcard series with all 3 games on the road?
If the season ended now, John, no.
Based on what you're saying.
But there's still a lot of time left. There's still a lot of time to turn that around.
But would you bet on them if you're Preller? That's your job. You're looking at all the numbers. Are you betting on them? You're going to go trade away top prospects for a 3-game wildcard series, even if this team is heading for the post? I'm just asking that question. I think it's a fair question. We won't know the answer until July 30th or 29th or 28th, how much he wants to fully vest or believe in this team, but it's a question he's going to have to ask himself.
His actions will speak louder than his words. And I think his words right now are what they were in Dennis Lynn's piece. The team tells me what to do. If they are playing good baseball and guys are hot and they're having good seasons, you know what? I'm going to be compelled to go all in. I've done it before. I'll do it again. If the team is just kind of blah, bunch of down years, there's just something off with the team at the deadline, I still will make moves because I'm not going to just give up on these guys. They're in it. They're not out of it yet.
Right.
I'll make a move or two to help these guys out. But at the end of the day, it's going to be up to them to figure this out.
Yeah, then that's how it should be. It really is going to be on them. And you're right. It is. You're not making anything definitive. There's no definitive statements on June 30th. We're just watching it play out in real time. But at some point, there will be a definitive statement. You're going to look at yourself on July 28th, and you're going to be AJ Preller. You're going to say, what am I doing? 4 weeks pass, and things are going to change. You're right. They'll play well, or they'll play poorly, or somewhere in between. But I don't know. They're going to need a nice homestand, is what I do know, when they come back home.
You think?
Or they're going to need to, find a way this weekend to play well in Philadelphia. But yeah, that 10-game homestand coming up, that's like, you're only going to get so many 10-game homestands from here on out. You need to take advantage of that coming up. What's the record at home this year? The Padres, because remember, they got off to that incredible start. Incredible.
Yeah, they're really good at home. They're 25-14.
Okay, so they've been really good.
20-24 on the road, 25-14 at home. Good record.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to take advantage. It's not about like, hey, they have to play good in order to make the postseason now because there's still a lot of time left. It's
of course.
You're given an opportunity. You're given a 10-game homestand. Can you take advantage of it? Can you take advantage of it before the break? And that's the question.
Right.
Because you come out of the break on a 10-game road trip. And then you finish off the month of July with 3 against the Mets. The Mets are struggling. But
by then, you're going to know what you're doing. I don't think you go into the Mets series, although they did in 2023, like, hey, who they sweep? The Texas Rangers, maybe? In 2023, like, you know what? Let's go for it. Not that they went for it, but they didn't sell off. They didn't sell off in 2023, and that was costly.
But
they could have.
I really do think, because last year at the break, if you remember, they were one game over 500. One game over.
Break.
At the All-Star break, they were one game over 500.
Yep.
They lost the first game out of the break. They were a 500 team. They're 50-50.
But then they rattled off 8 straight wins before the trade deadline.
They had an 8-2 road trip, and they came home, and I believe they swept whoever they played at home.
So they were playing great.
They won like 10 of their first 12 games out of the break. And what did AJ Preller do? He went out and he got
swung big.
He did. He got the best relievers on the market and put them on this team, and it helped so much because the team was playing good baseball. Now the offense was much better last year.
Yeah.
But still, he went out.
You're right. You're 100. But like you said, it goes back to your point. The team will dictate what I do.
Dude, this is what they did out of the break, John. 8-2 road trip. They came home. They swept the Dodgers in a 2-game series. They were 10-2 out of the break right before the trade deadline. And then boom, AJ Preller said, all right, I've seen that they told me that I should go all in here.
Yeah, guess what he wouldn't have done if they went 2-8? Anything like what he did. Like if they came out of the break playing awful baseball, you're never going to see Jason Adam. You're never going to see Scott.
But the point is there's still time.
There is.
Before that decision needs to be fully made.
You're right. That is the point. And they do have time, but the time is now for them to play better. I know they did it later last year. It was truly the all-star break when they made that run.
Yeah.
Maybe they can do it again.
Because if they somehow had like an awful homestand, it's not out of the realm of possibility. And they did come into the break with almost identical record that they had last year, one game over 500. I know, like, you're going to be saying, does AJ Preller really, does he think that this team is going to do any good in the postseason? Does he think that the team is going to just, all of a sudden go on a run? Well, there still would be time.
But catching lightning in a bottle twice.
That's always the question. It's hard to do.
Are they going to go 43-19 in the second half like they did last year? And you never know. You never know. All right, we're going to give away tickets on the other side. Also, interesting writing today from Dennis Lynn. We'll get into in the 5 o'clock hour about the Padres at the deadline. But we are giving away a pair of tickets to see Britt Floyd and Alan Parsons at the Cal Coast Credit Union Open Air Theater July 12th. We'll do that coming up on the other side. Plus updates from Philadelphia, where the Padres and Phillies are well underway tonight. Stay with us, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, the iHeartRadio Music Festival is back. Live performances by Ed Sheeran, Mariah Carey, and more, September 19th and 20th. T-Mobile in Vegas, 2 nights, one stage. Buy tickets at AXS.com. Get them now before they sell out. In the next, let's say, 7 minutes, Jim, we'll give away tickets to see Britt Floyd and Alan Parsons, Cal Coast Credit Open Air Theater on July 12th.
So I know I said that Jackson Merrill catch earlier in the game today potentially could have been a game-saving catch because it kept the game at 1-0 instead of making it a 4-0 game.
Right.
Just kidding.
Well,
unless his team decides to score more than 3 runs.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not 3-0 Phillies. The Matt Waldron experiment, he gave them some really good outings last year. He did. There was a 10-start stretch in there. He was really effective. Mm-hmm. But there's a reason there's no other knuckleball pitcher in the major leagues. He has thrown more knuckleballs tonight than the combined knuckleballs thrown in the majors this year. Think about that.
And like 50% of them have gone to the backstop because Martin Maldonado can't catch him.
Well, he can't catch them because they're being thrown 10 feet away from him. Nobody can catch them.
That too.
Because the ball isn't anywhere near the catcher.
Exactly.
So he's got multiple wild pitches. It's the 4th inning, right? He's thrown 82 pitches.
Bullpen, get ready.
His jersey looks like he's been, in the shower. He's just drenched from head to toe. And yeah, I don't know if he's going to go more than 4 innings in this game. There's only 1 out in the 4th, and this is not the way you really want to start a series in Philadelphia. What do the pitching matchups look like for the next 2 days? I'm going to tell you the answer to that. The Padres tomorrow will turn to Nick Pivetta, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dylan Cease. So hopefully opportunities this weekend if they don't win tonight. Remember, they've lost 3 straight series openers. Royals, Nats, Reds.
Now, I thought that the streak of losing the series opener but then winning the next 2 games was going to continue yesterday with the game against the Reds, but it actually didn't.
It's a hard game to play, isn't it? Losing every game 1 and winning every game 2 and 3.
It is.
Like the odds of that playing out each and every series are very low.
Mm-hmm.
And they got maybe unlucky yesterday with Tyler Wade committing an error and then Robert Suarez not pitching well, and Matt Waldron just can't throw a strike. So, I mean, the Padres are in a world of trouble tonight. And remember, yesterday they used their high leverage relievers and lost. So tonight, that's not where you're going to be turning, obviously trailing 3-0. And listen, Mike Schultz not a punter. He isn't.
He's not Dave Roberts.
He's not going to be pitching Jake Cronenworth in the 6th, I wouldn't think, in this game. But
I don't think so.
You don't have a lot of options here other than letting either Waldron wear it or having someone come in and eat a couple of innings in your bullpen.
I mean, wearing it, you just don't want that, especially only down 3-0.
No, I'm saying, is Matt Waldron the one to wear it, or who in your bullpen is going to be the one that someone's going to have to eat some innings tonight, regardless of the score, whether it's 3-0 or you're leading.
This is not a fair situation for Matt Waldron or Martin Maldonado. The guys haven't worked together at all. And you know how difficult it must be to catch a knuckleballer when you haven't worked with that knuckleballer consistently, to like know the tendencies, to see the knuckleball, to understand its path. Like you just put these guys in a lose-lose situation. And right now it's biting them in the ass because he can't throw a strike. And not only can he not throw a strike with that knuckleball consistently, like every 4th pitch, the ball's at the backstop.
I guess my question would be like, this is one of the first times we've had the conversation this year about depth. What options do they have in their system?
They don't have any option.
That's the thing. It's like you've already pitched Ryan Berger, who's been good. You've already relied on Stephen Kolek a lot, and he's been good. And Randy Vasquez has been in your rotation all year. At some point, you're going to have to, go to a Matt Waldron, and that's what they've had to do here tonight. We've seen him be better than this, but it has not been good to this point, although he did just get out of a jam.
What just happened?
So they've had a couple of game-saving catches, the Padres today, but they still trail 3-0.
This game should be 7 or 10-0 right now.
It's crazy. But 3-0. Can the Padres offense come to life is the big question. Dennis Lin is writing about the Padres at the deadline. And there is some things in there that I want to share, but we're going to do it coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Again, we've talked a little bit, Jim, about SDFC. And I'm trying to look at what they have coming up. Remember, with all these road matches that they just played, I mean, all of a sudden they're going to settle into the schedule and they're going to be playing at Snapdragon a ton with opportunities to maybe build on this lead in the Western Conference. But they just played 3 straight matches on the road, which means the next time they play a Major League Soccer game is going to be at home against Houston coming up Saturday, July 5th. So maybe opportunities for SDFC to maintain the spot that they're in the Western Conference. It's an amazing story. I mean, they're 12-5-3, folks. 12 wins, 5 losses. 3 draws as an expansion team, picked to finish last in the West. Unbelievable.
One of the better stories ever in
out there.
Major League Soccer, just from an expansion team perspective. Now we'll see what happens, the rest of the season. But at this point in time, they are proving to everybody that they are going to be a very difficult team to face come postseason. And they're also proving they're one of the best clubs in all of MLS. They just like Milan Iloski. I mean, he was not supposed to be this good this quickly. He came in, he's just the world on fire.
Every 5 minutes.
Anders Dreyer has been, I would say, probably their best player this year, their most consistent player. He's an MLS All-Star. Chucky has been, in and out with injury, but
he's been great
when he's in there. He's a difference maker. That's for sure. So they are an amazing story. They're going to, I think, just, continue to if they continue to play this well, I mean, watch out for this team in MLS, guys.
4 of their next 5 in MLS, because they'll step outside of the league for Leagues Cup, but 4 of their next 5 are at home. And obviously they've been great at home. They've been great on the road, though. I mean, they've been great everywhere. But 4 of their next 5 are at home, including one against the team that's in second place right now, Vancouver, coming up. So an opportunity to really, really continue to position themselves well towards the top of the Western Conference. An incredible story playing out right here in San Diego. Of course, you can hear all the matches live right here on San Diego Sports 760. We promise you tickets to see Britt Floyd and Alan Parsons. Caller 3, you've got 2 free tickets to see this show. It's at the Cal Coast Credit Open Air Theater, July 12th. Britt Floyd, Alan Parsons. Call right now if you want those tickets. The number to call, 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. 2 free tickets. See Britt Floyd, Alan Parsons at the Cal Coast Credit Open Air Theater on July 12th. For tickets and information, visit Ticketmaster.com. We'll get into the trade deadline on the other side. Some recent writing from Dennis Lin in The Athletic, plus updates from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, where the Padres are trailing but try to rally in game 1 of that 3-game series. We are here until 6 p.m. Again, call now if you want those tickets, 877-767-4760. Hour 4 of John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. That's next.
Oh my goodness. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Padres, Phillies. Going to the bottom of the fifth inning. Padres trail the Phillies 3-0. NBA news, LeBron James, he has opted in to his 1-year, $53 million deal for the next season with the Los Angeles Lakers. Shop Mattress Firm's July 4th sale and reclaim your restless nights. Choose from a curated premium selection of mattresses to find just the upgrade you're looking for. Get matched, sleep at night.
It's John and Jim to warm up that drive home.
The Padres are fully asking Manny Machado to carry this offense, which even of a player of his caliber is not fully fair because when he slumps, which he is right now, where are you turning?
What we were expecting is guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Merrill, Manny Machado, Luis Ariz to be all-stars. And they're not. There's one player in there that will be an all-star.
Now, time for John and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of John and Jim. We're trying to process this Padres-Phillies game because it's been interesting, to put it lightly or mildly. It's 3-0 halfway home. They're heading to the bottom of the fifth inning. The Padres did just have a real rally, and Jim and I kind of scoffed at the idea of pinch hitting Trenton Brooks in the fifth inning. That tells you all you need to know about your catching situation, plus your bench. That summarizes everything. And then he scorches a ball. Like, I need to look at Gamecast. That thing was absolutely scorched. He hit it like,
look at this thing.
It was like a record speed, like infinity miles per hour.
Infinity.
Maybe harder.
Infinity miles per hour.
And of course it was caught, and then Xander was doubled up. This was a line drive caught at second, and then they doubled up the runner at second. And the threat ended. I mean, the thing was scorched.
I want you to guess. Just like, give me a serious guess.
Not 600 miles an hour? Okay.
Not 600 miles an hour.
108.8.
108? What? It's like the hardest ball hit of Trenton Brooks' life, dude.
True. Okay, 100.8.
101.3.
Caught.
Double play.
Nobody hits more line drives at fielders than the Padres. That's what Kevin told us earlier. I mean, is he not being truthful?
They're just so unlucky, man.
I mean, he scores that ball. I don't know what else you could possibly want him to do. Now, does it speak to the issue, which is they need to upgrade their catching situation and their bench? You just pinch hit for a catcher for Trenton Brooks, who actually came through in terms of what he was supposed to do, which is hit the ball hard.
No,
but doesn't it just tell you the problems they're dealing with?
Yeah. I said to start the show, if you go out and you get a right-handed bat and you get an upgrade at your bench position, yeah, it could help you. But in the grand scheme of things, it's still up to the big boys to come through.
Right.
But in that particular situation, an upgrade with a right-handed bat or an upgraded catcher or a left fielder would have helped you in that situation for sure. I'm not saying it's not going to help you to go out and upgrade those positions with, average to slightly above average players if you can find one out there. But it still wouldn't change the fact that the top of your lineup and your big bats haven't done anything. If I told you right now, who has a higher batting average, Xander Bogaerts or Fernando Tatis Jr., who would you say?
I would say they're tied with the same batting average.
Well, that's because you knew that.
Yeah, because I was tagged in the tweet.
But if you didn't know that,
250, I would have thought Tatis, but if you would have asked it, I would have been like, trick question. I mean, Xander Darnay Tripp just tweeted out because he joked like a month ago, will he have an OPS of 700 again this year when he had fallen back towards 600? He's over 700.
701.
His OPS is higher than Fernando Tatis, so forget about batting average. The more important stat is OPS, and Xander's better than. No, he isn't. But he's been better than Tatis for a long time. I tell you that.
For a long time, yeah. But overall, Tatis still has a 789 OPS. Bogaerts now has a 701 OPS. But they are both hitting 256. And if you asked me a month ago, would Xander have a higher batting average than Fernando Tatis Jr. this season? I'd be like, no.
I mean, what if I told you that Xander could have an OPS similar to Fernando Tatis Jr. by the end of the year? I don't think he will. But the fact that they're in the same stratosphere is an indictment on Tatis.
And the crazy part is, as the Padres now trail 4-0 after Nick Castellanos home run, of course.
So cover your head.
Yeah, of course, a Nick Castellanos home run. If Xander has a better OPS than Fernando Tatis Jr. this year,
well, he shouldn't.
No, he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like if Tatis ends the year with like a 770 OPS and Xander ends with like a 750 OPS, it's going to be wild because people will say that Xander had a really good season. And I'll tell you, did he?
Yeah, right. Not really. I mean, I would tell you probably in that scenario, Jim, that he
Probably,
had a good,
yeah.
I'd probably tell you he had a good second half in that scenario. But there's just the problem is it's like when you try to like plug up a hole in a boat. You can't. It's impossible because then like there's going to be another issue with the boat. You can't just plug a hole in a boat. And it feels like that's what we're dealing with right now with the Padres. It's like, well, their bullpen's really good. Yeah, but then you have the Robert Suarez situation playing out. Or, well, they got a great top four. Well, they're not playing like it. Or the rotation's great. I mean, they're pitching Matt Waldron.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it seems like the issues are becoming more and more as we watch them play more poor. That's not, you know what I mean? Like, each and every day, it just feels like we're seeing more and more issues creep in to this team. And I get it. It's only June 30th. They don't have to be perfect right now. They don't have to play a perfect series here, Jim. I mean, maybe they lose the series 2-1 and the world keeps spinning and they'll be fine. But I just don't like, I say trend lines a lot with this team since they started 14-3. I just don't like the trends I'm seeing with this team. It's been way too long of a time since they played really well.
Manny Machado 0 for 2 tonight. Jackson Merrill 0 for 2. Fernando Tatis Jr. 0 for 2. Gavin Sheets 0 for 2.
I mean, change the lineup. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do?
They've already changed the lineup. And the thing is, that signal to everybody, the Padres know they need to do something differently to try to jumpstart these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not happening right now. Manny Machado has gotten ice cold. Jackson Merrill, if I just look at his numbers real quick. All right.
His numbers aren't bad.
They're not bad, but still you're hitting third in this lineup.
Yeah. They're not great.
So Jackson Merrill, over his last 7 games over the last week, is hitting 208. Over his last 15 games, he's hitting 264 with a 358 slug.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
He's your 3-hole hitter. And he doesn't have any power right now.
Right.
So
it's true. It's his 5 home runs this year.
It's just bad all the way around from your top guys. And you know, everybody's going to be like, see, they just need to pick up some average players to put at the bottom of their lineup and they'll be much better. Will they? Or the problems from the top of the lineup still going to be the bad?
I am watching, you and I watch these things religiously, right? We're watching at bats, we're watching innings, we're watching everything. We're listening, we're hearing, we're reading. Mm-hmm. Like,
no, they're not a good baseball team right now.
I'm watching this,
I get it.
Like, wake up.
I know.
Like, it's unbelievable to watch how and the thing is, the way baseball is now, and I kind of like some of this, is you don't have to be great to give yourself a chance in the postseason. So many teams make the postseason. Again, if this is 25 years ago, you'd be like, there's no way, guys. They're not going to be the top wild card. They're not winning this division, right? If it was 25 years ago, but it's not. So it leaves you way more margin. You don't have to be the best team at the midway point, and you can improve in the second half. We saw it last year. It's just some of the stuff I'm watching right now. I'm like, what am I watching from this team? Where's the 14-3 team that we saw?
That's not there.
Where are we going to see them again?
I don't know. I don't want to make a generalization on this team as saying like this team officially sucks. They're not making the postseason at this moment in time. They're not good.
I don't like the way they're playing.
I don't like the way they're playing either. But we have seen how quickly it can turn around. I'm not forecasting that it will. I'm not forecasting that they're going to.
Right.
I'm not forecasting that it won't.
Yep.
I'm just saying that something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
In particular with their star players. First and foremost. If they were performing, everything else would fall in line.
Right. So you're saying actually, if there is a hole in the boat, if you fix that hole and it's Merrill, Machado, Arias, Tatis, for example, everything will work itself out.
It's like the Titanic. It's like, oh, they're fixing all these little tiny leakages around. Like everything's fine, and then they missed the giant leaked spot that ran in the iceberg.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, that's a great point. Like this is the iceberg.
It's like we fixed all the tiny holes,
and then you hit a big iceberg.
It's like, oh, we're still sinking. Why is that? Well, the giant hole over there is still not fixed.
Honestly, it's not it's funny you say that because this is not a night to get upset at the San Diego Padres. You're gonna say, well, why, John? Because like, look at this matchup heading in. I mean, were you like, how much of a diehard or how much of a homer do you need to be to head into this game and be like, the Padres are definitely winning this game, and here's why. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I mean, this is a tough matchup. You're on the road against a team that wins 65% of the time at home. You're facing one of the best pitchers in the sport in Zach Wheeler. You're giving Matt Waldron his 2025 debut. This was never a favorable matchup. We were just hoping. I always hope with this team, like maybe they'll show us something. They'll get up off the mat. They'll be the team we've seen previously. Not to this point.
And they're not a good baseball team against teams over 500.
Yeah, you've said that. You're right.
It's not a good combination to have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also why I look at this season. If they can, August is going to be their most difficult month. Would you agree on that?
To come, you're saying between July, August, and September, it's their most difficult month.
If they get to August and they're still in a position,
yeah,
they've made a move. August feels like it's their most difficult month
based on their opponent. We're saying,
yeah,
with like all the Giants and Dodgers series.
They play the Dodgers twice. They play the Giants twice.
Yeah,
I think. Who else did they play that month? I looked at it the other day. We talked about it on the radio.
Yep. No, I remember. I think
it's a difficult stretch. Hold on, let me pull this up here. So in August, they face St. Louis, who, if you look at they're a good team.
Yep.
Arizona, Boston, the Giants twice, the Dodgers twice, Seattle, Minnesota.
Right.
That to me feels like if they can navigate that, get to September in a playoff position or right like 1 or 2 games back of a playoff position, they will be in great shape because your September schedule, John, Rockies for 2 series, the White Sox, you finish up with Arizona, Baltimore.
Right. There's a lot in there where you could take advantage. Although I don't know if I'd feel great heading into September and they were on the outside looking in and like now is the time to bet on the Padres based on schedule. You know, we haven't seen it since April, but
we'll see. It's a long ways away, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just saying, like looking at the bigger picture here, you know, getting to September and navigating through your way through August. Obviously, there's still July as well. You got to make sure you navigate through that 10-game road trip out of the break.
Right.
There's a lot of navigating.
There's a lot of navigating, including this weekend in Philadelphia, no matter what happens here today.
I'm just trying to look at the big picture of people thinking, the season's over, this team sucks. No, trying to tell you there's parts in their season where they could take advantage. And if they get there, I feel good about them.
No one should honestly think the season is over other than just saying, screw it, I'm turning off my television. I get that. But what is concerning is they're hitting 200 with runners in scoring position over the last 2 months. They're 0 for their last 17 through yesterday. I mean, again, there's just, like you said, I mean, this boat is springing so many leaks right now. I don't even know what to address based on what I'm watching each and every day. All right, we're going to get to what Dennis Lin wrote today in The Athletic on the other side. The Pac-12 makes that addition official today with Texas State. We'll get into that coming up later this hour. And Jim's back page is ahead as well. We'll keep you updated on Phillies and Padres. To this point, it has not gone well for the Padres, trailing in Philadelphia 4-0 as they've gone to their bullpen in the 5th inning. Stay with us. This is John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, maxed out on credit cards or are struggling with high interest debt. You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey guys, it is Schaefer. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is truly amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. A huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity, it's yours. You can use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Call now to start the conversation. The number is 619-207-4336, or you can go to loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. Get debt relief now at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. All right, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 with you until 6 p.m. Jim's back page is ahead. The latest on Texas State to the Pac-12 coming up as well. This was in Dennis Lynn's mailbag today.
Okay, what do you got?
All right. What are the chances the Padres retain some of the trio of arms, Michael King, Dylan Cease, Robert Suarez? What do you think his response to that would be?
Very low percent. Like very low percentage chance.
Of any of those players returning?
My guess is 5%. Of any of those players returning or all of them? Any of them? Oh, well, I think Robert Suarez has a good chance. So I'll go 30%.
Okay, I kind of like that. He says Cease is gone because of Boris.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paraphrasing. He says he's almost certainly gone. Mm-hmm. He says King's weird injury might have increased his chances of staying.
It's interesting.
He says, I'll put the odds at, but for now, I'll still put the odds at under 50%. Actually says well under. So let's say 30.
Okay.
And then he says Suarez will be 35 next year. He's had elbow issues in the past. The Padres would be wise to let him explore free agency.
I would tend to agree with Dennis on that one.
So, I mean,
so 0%.
So basically, we're saying that there's very little chance that those players are returning. This team's going to look so different. Completely different.
Yep.
Not necessarily for the worse. I mean, some of these young pitchers have performed well. Again, if King and Cease walk, doesn't sound great in your head, but we've seen some good young pitching from the Ryan Bergerts and the Stephen Koleks, and you'll get the Musgroves back. I don't think you count on you, Darvish.
The one thing I'm really never worried about with an AJ Preller team is finding a closer.
Right.
He'll find a closer, and guess what? Jason Adams still under contract,
100%,
and Adrian Morehone is still under contract, and Jeremiah Estrada is still under contract. So,
but listen to this.
Not going to be a problem there.
Listen to this on Jarren Duran. Okay, someone asked Will H. I wonder who that is. I wonder who Will H is.
Will,
who could that
be? We miss you.
Who could that be?
That's definitely Will Holder. Oh, Manny's back.
I thought the ball was so good.
Oh, nice single. Jeez.
I mean, I thought that ball was 20 rows deep.
You dog it out.
And by the way, I was about to say, how are you on first? Nice. Wow, 6 hits away from 2,000.
Oh, nice.
Hold on. I want to see this one more time. 4-0 Phillies in the 6th. And it looked like Manny Machado may have hit a solo home run. It just died. Look at, he's looking at that thing.
They pimped it.
Yep.
And it was off the wall.
Yeah, it didn't even hit the top of the wall.
No. All right. Well, nice single.
That's not great.
Yeah, well,
that could be a whole
make him pay.
There
Jackson.
could be a reaction there. Anyway, so he writes about Duran
from Will Holder.
From Will Holder, right? Our buddy.
Yes.
And this is what Dennis writes: Duran remains at or near the top of the Padres list of trade targets. Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. Now he goes on to say, but unless the Red Sox really fall out of their wild card chase, they may not have much incentive to move him next month. He says Buxton probably isn't going anywhere. And then he gets into some of the outfield troubles. And then he talks about Luis Robert.
Buxton's
Taylor
like a
Ward,
dream, but that's not happening.
Cedric Mullins, yada, yada, yada.
All right.
But how about that? Duran is at the top of the Padres list of trade targets.
See what Jarren Duran is doing this year, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. Jarren Duran this season. He's got a 1.3 WAR. He has 20 doubles, 9 triples, which leads the league. He's hitting 252 with a 309 on base and a 711 OPS. OPS plus of 98.
So actually, he's kind of been a very average hitter this year. So the doubles and triples are great.
Hey, it's an upgrade from what they have. The problem is, how much is it going to cost you?
Right.
Again, if it's not DeVries or Salas or maybe even Cash Mayfield, does it really matter that much? Like, are you really going to lose any sleep over anybody in the organization getting traded if it's not DeVries and Salas or maybe Cash Mayfield?
But don't you feel like we're like a rat in a wheel again? And we're saying, well, now is Jarren Duran going to go save that 711 OPS Jarren Duran? Is he going to really change everything?
Also, it's another left-handed bat. So
yeah, good point.
You need a right-handed bat.
Now, he's controllable for a long time, right?
He is.
You're thinking future.
He's a free agent in 2029.
Wow. So you'd have to give up so much, Jim. If he's a free agent in 2029, he's coming off a year in which he was one of the best players in baseball. The Red Sox aren't going to be like, oh, you need an outfielder? I mean, they'll be like, okay, well, so do we. I mean, if you really need him, you're going to have to pry him from us. So I don't see how realistic that is.
Went to Long Beach. He went to Long Beach.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So bring him home. That's what you're saying.
Bring him home.
But I don't know how realistic that's going to be. But it's so Preller to, I mean, for Dennis
for the
to
big
write
name.
that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
he checked in on DeVries. Or not DeVries. Checked in on
No, you're talking about Devers.
Devers, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, that's a good point. If
Checked
you're
in on
checking out
Devers.
Devers, why wouldn't you check in on Duran?
Of course, you check in on everybody. That's who AJ Preller is. I'm sure if he called the Pirates, he would ask about Paul Skeens.
I'm fine with them. That's a good point. I'm fine with them having these players that they're hoping for or wishing for. But then you get down to it, you get to the end of July and you see where are we? He's not going to go add Jarren Duran if this team is not playing great.
You want to bet on that?
Yeah. What do you want to bet? Because you're saying he would be adding him for the future?
No, I'm saying that he would try to go add Jarren Duran. You're saying he wouldn't try to go add Jarren Duran.
Not if they're not playing well.
I think he would go to. I think he would try to get Jarren Duran,
even
regardless.
if they're playing poorly.
I think so. Yes.
I don't know, because a player that's controllable for 3.5 years is going to have such a high price tag attached to him. You're going to have to include, like you just said, well, if it doesn't include Salas, DeVries, Mayfield, well, it will.
I'm not saying he'll go out and get him. I'm just saying he'll try.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to talk to everyone about all these players. So we shall see. But I guess what we're learning is that he'll leave no stone unturned.
He'll call on everybody. We know that. He'll call on everybody and he'll ask for everybody and he'll come up with 75 different trade scenarios possible for one person. But at the end of the day, if the team doesn't start hitting, then it's not going to matter.
Is this one of the weirder games you've watched? The game we've been watching tonight between the Phillies and the Padres, isn't it just had a lot of weird moments? For example, 4 wild pitches thrown by the Padres.
Must be expected with a knuckleballer.
Great deep. Well, 2 of them, I think, from Monty Peralta. The Jackson Merrill catch, the Luis Ariz catch, the Manny ball that was off. I don't know. It just seems like a very weird game. We'll see what happens from here on out. But right now, the Phillies are leading the Padres 4-0 in Philadelphia, game 1 of this 3-game series. Padres will get home and they'll take on the Rangers. They'll take on the Diamondbacks. Then the Phillies are going to be here. So a lot of the Phillies coming up for the Padres over the next week and a half, which we'll see how that goes.
I said I would take a 3-3 road trip.
Yeah.
At the start of this thing, a 3-3 road trip to me feels like an absolute win if they could somehow do that.
Right, because it likely means they're going to need to win. What days of the week? I'm getting Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yes, John. They would need to win 2 of the 3 games in Philadelphia.
I know, and they're trailing this one 4-0. Obviously, I mean, 3-3 might be the best possible scenario because when you're 1-3, you can't do better than that.
Correct.
All right. On the other side, let's get to what happened today in the Pac-12. It is official. What comes next? Texas State is the newest addition to the Pac-12 conference. A media deal still to come for the Pac-12 plus possible expansion on the other side. Plus Jim's back page. We're here until 6. John and Jim on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, this update's brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Padres and Phillies. We head to the top of the 7th inning in Philadelphia. Padres trail the Phillies 4-0, and NBA free agency is underway. LeBron over the weekend, he opted into his 1-year, $53 million contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. Progressive Insurance says if you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. You got a quote for renter's insurance at progressive.com.
All right, John and Jim. Jim's back page coming up in about 15 minutes. We're here until 6 p.m., keeping our eye on the Padres. Let me ask you this, because nobody seems to care. I don't see it at all on social media. I don't know if it's in the chat or not. Maybe it's just because, whatever, it's Manny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's 6 hits shy of 2,000. He's had this, he's had a very good year. He's about to turn 33, yada, yada, yada. So he watches a ball out of the box and he ends up at first on a ball hit off the wall, right?
How dare you question Manny's hustle?
And then the next batter, who has been scuffling like nobody's been scuffling, or later in the inning, Fernando Tatis Jr., not the next batter, then ropes a single to center field, but Manny was at first, not second, because he didn't run out of the box. If he was at second, presumably it's a run. I get it. They're trailing 4-0. It's not the end of the world. But when you can't score, you would like to provide yourself with a chance to score more runs, right? One way to do that is by hustling. I mean, is that really asking anything?
I agree. That was bad. Now, in his defense, he probably thought he got that. He knows what a home run feels like. Off the bat, probably felt, oh, I got that one. And then he didn't. So then he goes, oh, bleep. And it's too little too late.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. If he's hustling out of the box, he's at second base, Toddy comes up, who knows if he gets a single there, because the team can't hit with runners in scoring position anyway.
True. Obviously, no one will
But
know.
still gets a single there. Manny should have been on second. I just think that out of the box, Manny thought he got it. It wasn't like he hit one in the gap and decided to just jog his way to first. He thought he hit a home run.
No, I agree. But okay, let me give you this then. Let's say the same thing happened with it's so hard with these teams. They got like a lot of stars or high priced players, and then they have like catchers. But let's say the same thing happened with like Elias Diaz. He stayed in the box.
Even if he does get out of the box running, he's not making a second.
I know. He's not, because you're saying he's just so slow.
It was Bryce Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, give me the example of the player, like Tyler Wade.
But still, like I said, it wasn't like he hit one in the gap and then jogged to first. He hit that thing good, and he thought he hit a home run. That thing was about 5 feet away from being a home run.
I agree, but I mean, it's never a good look when it's not. It wasn't 20 rows deep.
Once it's not a home run, it's not a good look. I get that, and I totally understand. I'm just saying.
Again, nobody. I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying. I've said this a lot of times over the years, and I'm not making a point. Let me go all in on Manny Machado, but it does seem a little foolish to me that it is completely allowable because it's Manny. I feel like that's often the excuse over the years that we've covered the San Diego Padres. All 7 years he's been in this uniform, and he's done a lot of good, and the expectations are super high, and he has lived up to a good portion of them. I just feel like when he doesn't, sometimes the excuse is just, well, it's Manny.
Well, if LeBron James dogs it on defense, is he going to get benched? If Steph Curry dogs it on defense, or just kind of is out there playing nonchalantly, is he going to get reamed for it?
Is it the same comp?
Not even close, but I'm trying to make a comp.
I mean, your point is valid, because Manny Machado is paid like he's one of the.
Those guys are winners. Yeah. They have won championships. Manny has not.
Right, but
different
Manny
in baseball too.
It is different, and Manny is a great player. I'm not discounting Manny and what he means to the team. I mean, let's be honest. Without Manny Machado's first half, this team isn't sniffing anything that they're sniffing right now. So Manny's a great player. I have high expectations. Sometimes some of this stuff, for whatever reason, it just rubs me wrong. I haven't said that at all this year. It's just they've been a frustrating watch. It's like you said it at a break.
It's baseball, John. You know that?
No, you said something. It's not, and I completely agree. I'll say it. Like they're playing, like they look like a quad A team. You weren't even as kind, but I mean, they look like a team going through the motions.
They look like a AAA team right now. Balls are flying to the backstop, walks everywhere. It's questionable defense, other than Jackson Merrill's amazing grab there. in the third inning or whatever it was.
Right.
Not covering first, guy scores on from third, like
right.
And as I said, it's also not fair to completely go all in on like Matt Waldron today because he's making his first start of the season. Who knows how long he's worked with Elias Diaz, or whoever was meant to play
20
today.
minutes.
20 minutes. Knuckleball pitcher, you know how hard that is?
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
And Martin Maldonado is not a good catcher anyway, so you throw a knuckleball out there, it's like, you're going to ask for trouble, man. You're asking for trouble.
I agree. No, I agree. And I made that same point. That's why I'm not going to go screaming and kicking over the, trailing Zach Wheeler in Philadelphia game, because this isn't the game that they were like, it's not like they led 7-0 all night and then lost 8-7 or whatever. And this game isn't over. Who knows? Maybe rabbits get pulled out of hats, but it's been a bad night all around.
Yeah, as Cody said in our YouTube chat, 6 walks and 3 wild pitches today. It's like a AAA team.
And the fact that it's only 4-0 is truly remarkable.
Right, because Jackson Merrill robbed whoever it was of a 3-run homer.
Yeah.
Luis Ariz had a great diving play at first base.
2 runs.
Saved at least a run.
Yeah, it was first and third one out.
Mm-hmm. So this game feels over. Should have been over a long time ago, but if not for some really good defensive plays by the Padres, and they continue to have trouble if this thing doesn't turn around here in the next couple innings. They continue to have trouble against teams over 500.
Yep.
They continue to have trouble with runners in scoring position. They're 0 for 5 today. They're 0 for the last 18 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah,
not a good recipe for a winning baseball team, but it will all be excused by Mike Schilt. It will all be excused by Manny Machado, and that's just how this team operates.
I would love to, and I'm not going to ask Kevin to ask it. I never have once in my career, and I get it. It's an uncomfortable. If I'd like to think that I would ask Mike Schilt, should Manny have been at second on that ball he hit? Now, I don't know. My guess is it won't be brought up. It'll be, hey, Waldron.
You think honestly that Mike Schilt would say a bad word about Manny Machado?
No,
or at least criticize him.
But that's the job. Like, I feel like I would like to hear from the manager when something like that occurs.
I'm not even, me. Like, if Manny does something, I'm not afraid to say it. But even today, I'm not really going to go too deep into that because I think he thought it was a home run and it was about 4 feet away from being a home run. If that thing was in the gap and he jogged it out of first, then we'd have a major problem. But this thing was at the top of the wall. He thought he got it. And once he realized he didn't get it, he tried to bust it to second, wasn't going to make it, had to go back to first. I think if it was the ball was in the gap, it would have been a different story if he wasn't running out of the box. But I do agree with you that Manny Machado is never questioned with anything he ever does.
Never.
Manny Machado, when he goes through slumps, never questioned. Manny Machado, when he, makes bad defensive plays, never questioned. Probably the reason why he's never questioned is because he does come back and he does have stretches where he looks, amazing. And he does more often than not put up his numbers. And you look at the back of his baseball card and he's always there. He will die trying to get his numbers.
No, you're right. And we haven't even mentioned his quote today. I don't even know where it is. I have no idea where it is. But he talked about, losing 3-2 and
he didn't seem like it was that big of a deal.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. It
was
you didn't get hits with men in scoring position and you live to fight another day.
It was that's just baseball quote. And I kind of looked at it, rolled my eyes, and you move on because that's what Manny Machado is. He is not a rah-rah guy. He is not a rally the troops guy.
No, he isn't.
He's not. If you look back at that, moment in the dugout of Dodger Stadium last year when he, gathered the team together, that was a moment for sure. But over the course of 162 games, he's not going to do it on consistent basis like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just, it is what it is. And I'm more concerned with the fact that Manny Machado has kind of gone into a mini slump than anything over some stupid quotes that he says.
Yeah, although again, what's he done tonight? He hit that ball off the wall. What is he 1 for 3 with that ball off the wall? Yeah, and Tatis has a hit here tonight, but again, was a single. I completely agree with that. I'm just saying that when things aren't going well, where are we looking? Who are you trying to hear from? You're trying to hear from Manny Machado, and then he gives you something that maybe rubs some people the wrong way. I didn't have that much of an issue with that. I have more issue with him not running out of the box. But listen. They're down 4-0 in Philadelphia. They were no hit through 8 innings the other day in Cincinnati. They scored just 2 runs yesterday. The offense is a major, major issue. And I don't know who's accountable for it, but I know Manny Machado and they're all accountable for it. But the offense is such a major issue right now that honestly, if you would have told me to start this road trip that these 4 games would go like this, that they would struggle to score against the Reds and the Phillies this much, I mean, I would have been like, no, their offense actually is going to come to life. And nope, I would have been wrong.
And I guarantee you, if Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado and Luis Ariz and, those just 4 guys, and I haven't mentioned Xander or Cronenworth.
Right.
Those 4 guys get going like they were at the start of the season. Guess what? They're going to win more baseball games. It's pretty simple. But if they don't, they're going to continue to be a frustrating watch. And they're going to hover around 500 for a long time. And if they continue to play like this, like they have the last 2 months, they'll be at 500 at some point. They're going to have a stretch where they go 7-3 in 10 games.
If they're at 500 at some point, I said this last night, I'll double down on it. Like, I will have zero faith in them if they're at 500 this year. If there's a moment in time moving forward with this team and they were at 500, I have no faith in them.
But John, what about last year's team that was 500?
Different. That team was never 12 games over 500 on their way to 50 and 50.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
But still,
12 games over.
But last year's team never showed you what this year's team showed you in the first,
True.
100 games, the second half.
No, you're right. It's
and
possible.
we didn't know that.
I'm just telling you how it would feel. I'm telling you that day I come into this studio, Jim, and I say I have no faith in the Padres, and you would say the same thing if they get to 500.
I just look at the team and I ask you, who's having a career year?
Offensively,
just give me anybody.
Bryce Johnson.
Just give me anybody on the team that's having a career year.
Manny's numbers are comparable with some of his better years.
Not a career year.
No one on offense.
Okay, that's a problem.
That's obvious.
Can you find one player on the team? I'll find one player.
Yeah, sure. Adrian Moreland's been amazing.
Moreland.
Yeah.
Your 7th inning reliever.
He's been really good.
He has been, but he's your 7th inning reliever. Last year's team,
Nick Pavetta's been good.
Nick Pivetta has been good. All right, there you go. Other than that, I got nothing.
I get it. I get your point. But there's still 7 games over 500.
I know. Last year there was 3 guys in the lineup that all had career years:
Right,
Profar, Merrill, Higashioka. And you could argue that their role players for their roles they were in had career role player years.
Yeah.
And then Manny Machado's second half was amazing.
It was.
And then you look at the pitching staff last year, Michael King, career year, right? You had Robert Suarez up to a point having like a career year as a closer, and then he fell off in the second half. Dylan Cease.
Yeah.
Wasn't a career year for him.
Top 5 in Cy Young.
But he finished 4th in Cy Young voting.
What is Mike Schill going to say post-game? If they lose 4-0.
Probably the same thing. We believe in our guys. This is just a rough patch. I don't even know if he'll say that. Good pitching. He's going to tip his cap, that's for sure, to Zach Wheeler.
All right, Jim's back page on the other side is John and Jim. Final time on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Back tomorrow at 2 p.m. for more. We'll do the same thing for 4 hours. We'll do it Wednesday.
We might have the same exact show if the Padres don't win this game.
Honestly, let's just replay this.
Seriously.
They don't win this
the
game.
Same exact show talking about this offense, problems with the offense, their numbers. It might be the same exact show tomorrow. We're just giving you a heads up right now, guys.
So Zach Wheeler is still out there in the 8th.
Is the Phillies bullpen good or not? I have no idea.
I don't know either. But he's still under 100 pitches. So Zach Wheeler out there in the 8th. 4-0 Phillies. Yeah, we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it.
Denny's, John, is flipping up a fan favorite deal with its return of its all-you-can-eat pancakes, starting at just $5.99 at participating locations nationwide.
Okay, $5.99.
$5.99 for all-you-can-eat pancakes.
Seems like a really good deal.
The promotion starts with a plate of 3 pancakes, followed by unlimited refills of 2 pancakes at a time, all for dine-in customers only. The offer is part of Denny's ongoing, quote, all-day dinner deals menu, designed to deliver value without compromising on portion size or flavor. With no set end date announced, the $5.99 unlimited pancakes deal is expected to run for a limited time. Guests are encouraged to check with their local Denny's to confirm availability.
How far do you think people take that? You know, are you going to have the 19-year-old kids in college saying I'm going to eat 17 or 23 pancakes or something?
I mean, look, $5.99 for what? Potentially
as many as you want.
Like if you had 7 pancakes for $5.99,
less than $1 each.
It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
How many could you run through, Brent? Do you think?
You have to remember though, they're restaurant pancakes. It's not like they're
not
Eggo pancakes or something. So they're going to be really thick. So probably maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Especially once,
are thick, man.
especially once, well, it's just like, Denny's or Perkins or IHOP, or, any restaurant pancake, they're always thick like that. Plus, they're like syrup sponges too. So once they soak up all the syrup, that makes it even more. So I'd say maybe 5, 6 tops.
I want all you can eat sushi for $5.99.
Well,
from Denny's.
The all you can eat sushi place that we went to in Las Vegas was amazing.
Yeah, it was like what, $30?
It might have been cheaper.
It might have been at those.
I think it was like $25.
It's a good price.
And the portion size, they were smaller portions, but the quality of it was so good.
And it was truly unlimited. You could order as many rolls as you wanted.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It's a Monday, so it's a Crumble Monday. Here are the new crumble cookies for the week, John.
Okay.
We got strawberry shortcake. We have a s'mores brownie, which is brand new.
Okay.
We have a caramel apple cookie. We have a patriotic birthday cake cookie. We have a patriotic M&M's cookie.
You just reminded me. I'm going to pick those up because Kristen's birthday is the 4th.
We have a cornbread cookie. And because it was such a big hit, Benson Moon, the Benson Boone Moonbeam ice cream cookie is back.
That's a big week then. They got a lot going on. I like the festive cookie, like the red, white, and blue.
It is 4th. What are you doing for 4th of July? Anything?
It's my wife's birthday.
Oh, okay. So every 4th of July is always something with you.
Yeah. So yeah,
nice swing, Jackson.
Struck out 4 times today?
Not great. Not great.
What else you got?
Did you know that holding your cell phone while driving in California is now illegal?
I think you know that. Didn't you get a ticket for it recently?
I did, but
hasn't that been illegal?
But here's the update on a new law.
Okay, I'm listening.
A strict new cell phone law in California is now in effect, banning nearly all handheld use of mobile devices while driving.
Wow.
The law prohibits drivers from physically holding a phone for any reason, including using GPS, changing music, or reading messages.
Wow.
Devices must be mounted, and interaction must be limited to a single swipe or tap.
Wow. Honestly, it's probably smart.
Yeah.
Right?
According to AAA, distracted driving causes more than 3,500 deaths across the U.S. each year.
Smart.
Quote, holding a phone is a distraction. The law recognizes that and makes it clear. If you're holding your device, you're breaking the law.
So that's now a new law, though, that there's like a stricter regiment.
Before it was, you can't be like texting or
So you
talking
could
on your
literally
phone.
hold it, but not.
But if I'm like holding my phone just like this, talking to somebody,
you'd be okay.
No, that's not okay.
That's not okay anymore.
No, it's not okay anymore. You have to mount your phone and you can only tap or swipe like one thing at a time.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I mean, we could end up getting a ticket over it, but I understand that people are probably getting in accidents because of it.
I get it.
Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah. I'm awful with this. I look at my phone a lot while I'm driving. It's not a good habit to have.
You hear that, officers?
You son of
It's not a good habit.
It's not. It's really bad. It's really bad.
No, but it's honestly better to get a ticket than get yourself in an accident or hurt someone.
That is true.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, hey,
I'd much rather pay a fine
than get in some bad situation.
Exactly. 100%. But when you get that fine, you're like, I would do anything to not get this.
Like, what do you mean? Like I was like swiping on my phone at a stop sign. That's illegal? And they're like, yeah, it is illegal.
It is illegal. So
is that all you got?
That's all I got, John.
I thought it was pretty good. The other thing we mentioned earlier is Fanatics Fest coming to San Diego in December.
You are amazed by this, by the way.
It's a big story. Nobody's talking about it but me.
Because it's in December, John.
It's not that long. You're talking about SummerSlam or whatever it's called, or War Games. That's in November.
You got it right.
Right?
I think it goes SummerSlam, then War Games.
Exactly. And that's in November.
Yeah. Right.
Which is 1 month before December.
It's in November, right, Brent?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's Thanksgiving.
What part of November is?
Well, they should just move it up to October anyway, because there won't be any baseball at Petco Park.
Wow! I thought you were Mr. This team's
I'm kidding. I'm not doom and gloom yet.
They're gonna hold that thing a couple days before the parade. Can't even set up this War Game until after the parade.
They're gonna have Roman Reigns spearing Manny Machado in the middle of the ring.
Dude, I wonder if any Padres will come out.
Then Jackson Merrill from the top rope.
Boom.
Frog splash to Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, frog splash. Whatever that means. All right, join us tonight. We'll have a wrap-up show for you. A lot to react to.
It will be the same thing we talked about on today's show.
And the same thing we talked about yesterday in the last 20 days.
Have the same show.
Same show. 4-0 Phillies in the 8th. Do the Padres have a miracle comeback in the 9th? Stay tuned. All right, if you missed anything today, go to sportssd.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes or TuneIn Radio or Spotify. And again, we're back tomorrow at 2 p.m. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
Bye-bye.